Not you. Are we live?
Not yet.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, we're totally live.
Hello.
The Fantasmagorium show proudly presents In the Loop, a quantum leap celebration. Sam has leapt into a rabbi to heal a family, and then he leaps into a special person to expose Michael Madsen's dyslexia. I almost said it too. Not really, but that does happen. I am Scotty R37. Antiderivative Jill is here, and Steve will be calculating the odds on how Ziggy gets us out of here. How are you, Jill?
I'm doing great.
That's good. Oh my, hang on a second here. There we go. I'm clicking and playing. Today's episodes, Thou Shalt and Jimmy. Both of them are really, I don't want to say tearjerkers, but they are heartfelt.
The first one is a little sad, and the second one, well, yeah, it's a little sad because you're dealing with the loss of a child. Your child, especially if you're a parent. This episode hits pretty hard.
Absolutely, and I find it. My sympathies don't really fall too much with Danny because you're never introduced. His loss is always felt, but his sister.
But he's already gone.
Yeah, it's his sister who seems to be just like shouldering the brunt.
Yes, it's the people who are left behind that have to deal with the grief.
Yes, and so it is, and also, oh my stars,
and
the
yeah,
dad.
You're right.
He's just so sad.
He is. He's so sad, and Karen's parents are just so messed up. They don't really have time to deal with how she's dealing with it either.
And then that Bert Glassman shows up. That asshole.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a scumbag in this episode.
But we'll leap to it when we do. But then also with Jimmy.
But it's just so easy to talk about this whole episode in just 5 seconds.
Oh well, no, and I don't want to gloss all over it. But again,
no, we can though, because it's kind of the drama is so easy to unfold from it.
There's an important lady that I need to point out though.
True.
Do you know who it is? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Jill Jacobson.
Who did she play?
Oh. She plays Shirley.
Okay, let's. I think.
Okay, let's wait
till
we get there.
And I just want to say ahoy to everyone in the chat. Thank you, Captain Finity, for being here.
Hi, Captain Finity.
And to the lurkers, oh yeah, like and subscribe. I guess.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. I realized that I didn't even have the bell rung, so now I'm getting nice notifications to tell me when I'm supposed to start.
Nice.
And then we have Jimmy, and then we have Jimmy.
Which, that's one of my favorite episodes. I've seen a few times.
And it's going to be. We'll have to decide on the nomenclature when we get to that episode. But I just find it so.
I don't think we'll get in trouble, but we do have to be careful.
Yeah.
Definitely don't have to say it as many times as they say it in the episode.
Oh my God, not as much as Michael Madsen does, but I'm not going to bury the lead on this one, but Michael Madsen being in this episode, it was I think he's the biggest star that we've seen so far.
You're right. Okay. He must have been the one where I was looking at Al's Place, which is a Quantum Leap website. And usually the supporting actors have a few roles, and his just went on for half a page or more.
Oh, and it's crazy. But you in that episode, you really feel the isolation and the difficulty that a mentally challenged person would go through. And I think that, I think we're safe to say it because he says it. If you've seen the episode, you've heard the word a lot. And
if we're tactful, sure.
But it's and we'll be respectful to it, of course. Mm-hmm. But and the thing is that when you see the preview for it, it could be kind of a meme for the crueler people on the internet, but it really is. If you watch the episode, it really makes you feel, again, the frustration and the difficulty and the hardship that goes with it, and how much can be done. It's not like it's everyone treats Sam like he's not Sam. At least, like, and no one likes him except for his brother, and that's it. Oh, and his nephew.
Quantum Leap is really great at dealing with the tough issues of being seen as different and outsider, and in this case, you learn that when you treat someone like they're less than, then they kind of feel that way themselves and become nervous just to be around anyone.
Right. So we'll get all into that today. Plus, do we still? I got to find the bingo card, but so.
Oh, did you need the bingo card? I didn't bring that up today. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I can. Do you have a copy of the bingo card? I can find it.
I do somewhere.
Okay. We'll find it.
I'll let you finagle with that today.
This is what happens when we skip rehearsal. So before we start into the episodes proper, we're gonna try something out. Jill, did you have a few words that you wanted to say?
Theorizing that one could travel within his own lifetime, Dr. Sam Becket stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and vanished. He woke to find himself trapped in the past, facing mirror images that were not his own, driven by an unknown force to change history for the better. His only guide on this journey is Al, an observer from his own time, who appears in the form of a hologram that only Sam can see and hear. And so Dr. Becket finds himself leaping from life to life, striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping each time that his next leap will be the leap home.
Oh my God, new ringtone.
That's a pretty long ringtone.
It is a long ringtone, but it's for me to be entertained when people call me. I don't care what other people think. What was it? When I first got my first cell phone, I had one song, like just a breakdown from an old Motown song, and people would call me and I wouldn't answer because I liked the song that much. So
it was just time to listen to the song.
Yeah, it was just like, what is that, an alarm? And I'm like, no, someone's trying to call.
I've noticed it's not a good idea to put your favorite songs as the ringtone all the time, because sometimes you get annoyed when you get a call, and then your annoyance transfers to the song that was your favorite.
That's true. So let us know in the comments or in the chat whether or not you would like Jill to read the intro to Quantum Leap every week, or are we good with clipping that? Maybe we could just clip that and we'll just play that one.
That would be easy for everybody involved.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll all have to figure out how to clip things. I think you showed me before.
I could do it too.
Okay, cool. But that was a perfect read through, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and there we go. Phil Hamoud is in the chat. Hey, Phil, thanks for being here.
And I think I was waiting for it to actually show up in the series, but they haven't started using this intro yet.
Right.
But we will, because we can't wait.
You know what? And the thing is, and I just think about it, because like we wanted to use the Quantum Leap theme as the intro to this, but obviously we'd get copyright struck. That read was so good. I wonder if we'll get copyright struck. Because it sounds exactly like it. It was so good. I'm sorry. I'm gushing.
A bit.
Chris Longfellow, hello all. And Phil says, you're welcome.
Hi, Phil.
Anyway, as we have leapt from the DJ in the 50s.
Right. There's DJ from the 50s.
We are now headed to 1974. Oh, and so Sam finds himself to be a rabbi in the middle of a bat mitzvah.
Yes.
Thou
Shalt Not first aired on November 15th, 1989. It was written by Tommy Ader. and directed by Randy Roberts. Sam Becket leaps into Rabbi David Bosch on February 2nd, 1974, with the location being Los Angeles, California.
Oh, it was in LA. Okay. There's very little. There's only one reference to any historical action. Oh, no, two. The gas crisis and one of my favorite moments of Quantum Leap. And I'm going to have a personal story that I'm going to tell when that happens.
Oh, okay. I can't
I
wait.
know.
But before this episode, I'd never heard anyone refer to God as a big bopper. Don't really.
That's true. That is true. But I think that's coming off of the DJs too. I got to twist the night away, and the Big Bopper had other ideas. That was fun.
Oh, that's a reference to that. Of course it is. That makes sense now. I tried to look up who calls God the Big Bopper on the internet. Nothing came up. But
Mrs. Big Bopper.
Your idea that it comes from the last episode, that's logical. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What?
So Sam is left at the I don't know. I'm kind of ignorant to Jewish tradition.
I know I would call it an altar if we were in a Christian church, but it's called an altar here too, or
I don't know. Else. I do not know.
I do know it's not a church, it's a synagogue.
Right. Or temple. I thought there was something about temple. Like there was a bunch of stuff that I did learn, but I did feel very much like Sam. I felt like a Gentile in a Jew's world.
I definitely am.
I am. That's for sure.
I'm both a heathen and a Gentile. So.
Well, there you go. But luckily, Al's third wife was Jewish and taught Al the basics of common prayer, I suppose.
Yes, and the first ritual here is obvious. We know it's a bat mitzvah for Karen.
Yes,
and it's a ceremony that occurs for 13-year-olds who are now considered an adult for religious purposes.
Yes,
and we get the only mirror reveal in this episode.
Yes,
is this one right here.
Well, but the thing is, and you don't really need to be reminded that he's playing a Jewish individual since he keeps his yarmulke on the entire time.
Yes. And I do also like that he just happens to be Jewish, and actually the story doesn't exactly have anything else to do with it. But well, it's just a family.
Yeah. It's mostly about the roadblocks that sort of arise because Sam doesn't understand. He's a fish out of water in this situation, even more so than usual.
Yeah, now Al helps him, like you said, because of his third wife. She also taught him a little bit of Hebrew, so he helps him through the Hey Matzi. It's like a thankful prayer that you say before you eat. Mm-hmm. And they take a big chunk out of the bread. But I guess bread? Yeah, but we're not there exactly yet.
Well, and this is all just everyone is very, very happy. Unfortunately, let me see, what is Dad's name? Oh, Joe.
Joe is his name. That's right.
And so Joe is kind of down.
He is. He's been down for a whole year.
Yeah, something bad happened a year ago. Mm-hmm. And it takes Sam a long time to figure that out. But he seems distant, aloof, and somewhat rude. Al is loving all of this because of the food. And there we go. That is a bingo square right there. It's Sam looks like a crazy person talking to Al.
Yes, and there's always that thing with Al where he's always tortured by the food. He sees food he wants to eat. He can't eat it because he's a hologram.
Yes. Oh, hang on. Sorry. If you'd like to continue, I'm going to see if I can find that bingo card.
So then Rabbi David has to lead the hora, which is a dance performed at weddings and bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs. As this begins to happen, this lady sings Hava Nagila. And then it switches to another. This is the part where Al has to help Sam learn how to do this dance.
They really enjoyed that dance.
They did. And then it switches to another song, and
oh yeah, I was going to ask you, did they play, when you watched your copy, did they play Killing Me Softly?
no, I didn't get to hear Killing Me Softly. And I
I got,
love that song, and I was
yeah.
mad. I can get the correct version of Quantum Leap, which I'm going to work on doing. I love the 90s remake of it even more.
Oh, of course, the Fugees.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what? All right.
And then, well, yeah, then I guess that's the second song they play.
That's the one where Karen
that
is dancing with that little guy.
okay. Is that also the one that Irene wants to dance with Joe to?
No, I didn't recognize that song.
Okay, so that's a different song that she wants to dance, but he doesn't want to dance.
Right.
So a friend.
Yeah, this is where we meet Bert.
Yeah, Bert. Well, the first time you watch this, you don't realize he's a bad guy. But
no.
Now you know he is.
Well, it's really interesting because at first we find out from Al that Mrs. Bosch, let me see, what is her name? Irene. So Irene is going to ruin her life in 3 days by having a one-night stand. And Al doesn't think that that's a horrible thing.
Yes. Yeah, well, right. Nothing wrong with the one-night stand. Unless you're married.
Right, exactly.
He reluctantly admits that. So that's Al.
Oh my. So I do have the bingo card. I just have to figure out how to make it bigger. But yeah, so and we find out that that is it. The infidelity is going to break up the family, and the daughter Karen is never going to recover. So Sam is like, okay, I guess I'll, just make sure that she doesn't have an affair.
Yeah, so Sam is there to create the new timeline in which the family is not broken up.
Well, and also this does have a little bit of a paradox kicking too.
It does.
Yeah. So Irene is left looking. Why is she sad at this point? Aside from her, what we discover later.
Just because Joe isn't joining her on the dance floor.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh well, maybe he'll come. Like she's not being loved.
Oh, and I don't think Joe is capable of love at this point.
No, he's not, because he's still there are stages to grief, and he's clearly I guess maybe he's gone past denial, but he's angry. He's in the angry stage.
Oh, absolutely. So we get back home, and Joe is reading the newspaper while.
Yeah, Karen is trying to tell her dad about a necklace Michael Kornblum gave her, but he's distracted, not really listening, and leaves to get gasoline. And that makes sense because it's apparently during the time of the gas shortage.
Right, which is really the first of two frames of reference for the time period that Sam is in.
Yes. So in October 1973, OAPEC, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, put an oil embargo on the United States, and because of this, U.S. rationed what oil they had, causing these long lines at the pump. And this episode is correctly set in February 1974 because in March 1974, the embargo ended, leaving oil costing 300% of what it did before.
Wow. Thanks.
You're welcome.
That was good. So Sam is talking to Al and learning the traditions, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And
one thing from the gasoline scene I missed was that Karen wanted to go with him, even though but he rejected her, even though she wanted to do something boring. She just wanted to spend time with her dad.
Exactly, and that is it's kind of a crushing weight for Karen.
Yeah.
And then the entire drive. Yes.
Oh, right. There was more in this scene too. I forgot. Joe enjoyed getting away from the house, reminiscing, going to the ball game, and the life he used to have. And he's just sad, like you said. He's just completely sad about everything. And he's even considering an affair in the scene himself.
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, I think he wants to feel alive, and he doesn't because he's reminded of death every day, which we don't find out about until the end as to why he's
on the
this
beach.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This episode makes more sense when she just talk about it.
And so it's like, well, why don't you take Karen to the basketball game? And it's like, it's different when it's a girl. And Joe's reminiscing because they're brothers.
Yeah.
And he's saying,
yeah, but that's a red herring because it didn't matter if Karen was a boy or a girl. He'd be going through the same pain and not knowing how to deal with it either way. So
exactly.
That was just an excuse.
Well, and that's the thing. And I think he's acknowledging the death of his son, but he's dealing with it by not acknowledging it. Mm-hmm. Like they even go through, there's a thing where they're talking about at dinner, this is just before dinner. Yeah, Irene is about to set the table. But we just have to figure out how to keep Irene off of another man.
Yeah. More or less.
This was really deceptive because not in the past scene, but she's wearing like tan colored pants. And I was like, is she just wearing a dress shirt around for the first 3 minutes that I was watching this episode, and I didn't clue in that she was just wearing fleshy toned pants. It was the 70s. Horrible.
Wow, I didn't notice that.
Maybe I'm just looking for bottomless women whenever I watch Quantum Leap.
Well, let me know if you notice it when I don't.
Yes. And we get to see Sam and Karen playing Scrabble.
Which is good because, the parents aren't exactly paying too much attention to Karen. So it's good that she's getting her uncle to play games.
Well, and, it's part of the bat mitzvah celebration, I suppose, spending time with family. And he is a rabbi after all. He hasn't seen his niece in a while.
Yeah, and wherever, I don't think Sam knows where he lives, so he says his place is being fumigated.
Right, but that's never stopped him before.
Well, I know, but is this the first episode where he never actually goes to his house, wherever?
I don't remember. I kind of got Swiss cheese brain on that one.
Me too, but it's one of the few.
Yes, it is strange.
It's not the only.
Right. But anyway, sushi is not a word, or at least it wasn't in common vernacular in 1974.
That's right.
So, but also in Scrabble rules, are you allowed to use? I guess that's not a foreign word. It is a foreign word, but it's been sort of North Americanized,
Anglicized. Yeah,
Anglicized. Yeah. Would it count in?
Yes,
Scrabble.
If you can find the word in Merriam-Webster dictionary, it counts.
Okay. We should have a Scrabble stream.
So
anyway, they're playing. And Al gets to use hose.
He does.
Yeah, he said he's like, I'm gonna put sushi down, and she's like, sushi's not a word, and he's like, fine, hose.
Yeah,
and I thought that was hilarious because in 2022 vernacular, it's like you're a rabbi playing with your niece, and you're gonna put down hose. That's something that you like. That's when you're with your friends, and you're like, how many points are you gonna get on hose?
Yeah, 6 but points. of course, in this case, they're talking about farming equipment.
Oh, sure they are. I think he's pissed off because he can't use sushi. Well, he's actively calling her out and being like, "You're a hoe."
Well, it's because sushi was not widely known until the late 70s and early 80s.
Fair enough.
Japan went under an economic boom, which caused many of them to bring businesses into the United States. And since they were moving here anyway, they decided to bring along the taste of home. So I'll say it's correct that Karen would not have heard of sushi because it wasn't really known on a wide scale yet.
Fair enough. I still don't know what gefilte fish is, though, by the way. I know it's not fish.
I don't. Well, you know what? I'm glad I have something about sushi because I don't know anything about. I didn't do my due diligent research on Jewish food, so I could look it up, but I don't even know how to spell it.
That's why I didn't look it up.
But I did.
So, I could have put on the subtitles or something and found out the word, but I decided against it.
Oh.
Anyway.
Well,
Are you going to try? I think
Yeah, I'm
it's
gonna
just
try.
I think it starts with GV.
Okay, so it's GEFILTE.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's see what it is. It's it is fish. It's stuffed fish.
It is fish? Okay, I didn't even know.
Made from a poached mixture of ground deboned fish such as carp, whitefish, or pike. And it's like an appetizer.
Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, stuffed fish. That sounds fun. I'd try that. I
Me
like
too.
fish.
Me too. I just okay. Well, then I've been corrected, and I'm an idiot. I apologize to all of my
Well,
Hebrew
you know what
friends.
I should have done was write down all the different foods in this episode.
And
Like
you know what? We were kind of
what are they?
distracted with how severe and sad everyone was, and it was
Yeah, I
like, oh,
know, but it's a fun distraction. Like you, to talk about food,
it's true.
to not be sad for a minute.
Just for a second.
And lox,
Yeah,
it
that's just smoked salmon, isn't it?
no, that's a bagel with cream cheese with lox.
Really?
Wait, lox is a fillet of brine salmon.
Yes.
Okay,
Not
so it is
smoked, but
fish.
brined. Yes.
Okay. No, I like this because I'm looking up these up on the fly right now.
Welcome
no
to
idea
your
what-
Bat Mitzvah Menu Podcast.
No,
It's
I'm-
actually an episode of Quantum Leap, but you can use it for whatever you wish.
no, okay, one more niches and then I'll stop.
Knishes.
Knishes.
I think it looked like a small loaf of bread, a knish. Let me see.
For some reason they go into the history of it and they don't tell me what it is. It's dough that's stuffed with potatoes and onion, like a mashed potato pocket. That sounds
Weird.
good too.
That sounds all right. Huh. Now I understand why Al liked the food so much. I wish a
know.
hologram could eat.
Well,
So back to Scrabble. Sam's waiting on Karen to take her next turn. And Karen's like, are you ever going to get married? I don't even know. Can rabbis get married? I think they can.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm
they
sure
can.
they can.
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
And says he's thinking about it, but it's because of his lifestyle. And as he's being awkward, he goes to fiddle with something, as you do. And he picks up a guitar. This upsets Karen greatly.
I know. I was disappointed because I was getting excited that Sam was going to sing, but didn't happen.
We did not get that this episode. Either episode, actually.
No.
And so we are having the most tense and awkward dinner in the history of tense and awkward dinners.
Well, the dad, like you said, is so sad that he essentially is ghosting his entire family for it.
Well, and they're trying to engage. Like Irene is sitting there and saying, isn't the meat a little tough? And it's like, no, it's fine. No, you can say it. Like, she just wants him to express any emotion, please. Just not anger.
Yeah. And she's trying to get them to do the ritual with the headstone.
Yes.
That is done for a lost loved one at the gravesite, but Joe still doesn't want to deal with it or talk about it.
Right. And this is when Sam figures out that they lost a son. Up until now, everything's just been awkward. See, doesn't it look like she's not wearing pants?
No, I see pants. I very easily see pants.
Okay. So I'm an idiot. Okay, thank you. Like, look at her arms and then look at her pants. They're the same color, aren't they?
Well, her arms have more pink than her. Okay, anyway.
Then her pants? Either way, all I'm looking at, I was like, is she wearing pants?
Well, Irene is talking to Sam about what my cat is doing. About Danny's laugh and how she was worried about him going backpacking to Europe.
Rightly so.
Yeah, and she's feeling guilty about Danny's death because she was the one who lobbied for Danny to be able to go. And
this is a super intense scene. She's like, do you think that he thought of me as he was dying?
Yeah,
and it's like
he was the airplane was crashing.
He was, oh my God, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine the pain of losing someone close to me based on a plane crash.
No, No, and those are the really tough issues that Quantum Leap isn't afraid to delve into, even though this is not at all a fun topic to be talking about, losing your child.
No.
But they go for it, and
well, and it also, it is wrapped in an episode that sort of offers up Jewish tradition as well. All somewhat in a shallow manner, but also it's not. It's still being informative to a broader population.
I mean, I'm not Jewish, so I don't know for sure, but it seems pretty respectful to me.
That's what I thought.
But it's also about being a parent and how difficult it is. You want to hold your kids close and keep them protected, but at some point you've got to let them grow up and live their life, and life can be dangerous, and things like this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is definitely, it's interesting that he's a rabbi helping a family deal with the grief of the loss of a child.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the moment where Sam thinks, I'm the one who's going to have the affair with Irene.
Yeah, he does.
We haven't even, we're not even dealing with Bert yet. We've seen him a couple times. He smokes a pipe. He says he's writing a book about grief and loss. And so now,
he's writing a book.
Al jumps in and says, all right, well, if you think it's you, just don't.
Just don't do it. Do nothing. And then Sam's like, I promise. And now they're like, it's time to leap.
Yeah.
Click your heels. It's so silly.
It is. But it's nice to have these moments of levity.
Yeah. But anyway, we find out that Sam's wrong about it. All of that anyway.
Yes.
Bert is really the man Irene is going to have an affair with.
Look at that guy.
I know.
With his pipe and his turtleneck.
He says he's writing a book about the loss of a loved one and would like to talk to Irene about her loss.
Well, not only that, he's not just a smarmy prick. He's lying to people about having been a widower.
Yeah, he says that he lost his wife a couple years ago, Dolores. But Dolores doesn't exist.
Dolores isn't real.
A fantasy. She's not real. He's just using a false tragedy in order to take advantage of grieving women.
Take advantage of whom? Grieving women. I thought you said breathing women, and I was like, well, I would hope so. But so what happens now, Jill?
Then Sam saves a man from choking, and the man happens to be Dr. Heimlich, and this is the paradox you were talking about before, the time paradox.
Not at all.
No, this is definitely a paradox, because if Sam wasn't here to save him and he died, then how would he later invent the Heimlich maneuver?
That is true. You have an excellent point. Because, does that mean it's a predestination paradox? I hate those.
Yeah, well, when you consider that this show definitely
is a predestination paradox.
Yeah, it is, because it pretends that it's all one timeline, which it can't be, but we let it be because we love it.
Yes. Well, it was a cute moment, and also it is Sam just being like, really? What? Like, he's even confused by the fact that took place. Mm-hmm. So, but it was great. Now, do you know who this lady is?
Before I get to that, in this case, so I do like when Quantum Leap adds history, but when they insert Sam into the history, of course, it's always different from reality. In this case, Heimlich discovered this technique in 1972, while this episode is set in 1974, but I guess they get close enough.
Well, and I think they may have gone with a cursory research. They're not as diligent as you are, because I looked it up, and I think it came to common practice in 1984. Up until that point, it had been widely regarded that if someone is choking, you slap them on the back. Mm-hmm. And also, here's the personal story I had. So I was working at a chicken place, and one of the guests got up from his chair rather quickly and started sort of stumbling towards the kitchen, and everybody thought he was going to throw up, but he's like doing the universal sign for choking. And so I gave him the Heimlich maneuver.
You did.
He wrote me a very nice letter saying, my wife thanks you, my children thank you. If you hadn't have been where you were that day, I don't know if I would have made it, because everyone else thought he was just going to throw up. That's how good the chicken was. Anyway, so
Great job.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I like to tell that story because it makes me feel like Sam.
Yeah, you are Sam in that story.
Well, I was still me. I wasn't in a waiting room, and Al wasn't there. That would have been helpful.
You were Sam after he already got home.
So are you saying Sam leapt into me and I remember it all as being me, but it was actually Sam who was in control? Jill, the physics of leaping are baffling my brain.
Sure.
So anyway, do you know who this lady is?
Yes.
Oh, it sounds like
Jill Jacobson. Oh, but I don't want to miss Star Trek. Damn it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll be quick.
No, go. I have to go.
Okay. Yeah, you go. Come back, and I'll wait for you. I can jive. And so while Jill steps back into the waiting room, I just wanted to say that it's looking like Monday is going to be Star Trek the Animated Series over on Pop Culture Curators channel. And then Star Trek the Original Series is going to be on Tuesday. I think we're covering the Menagerie on Monday show over on Antiderivative Jill's channel. I don't know the name of the animated series episode. I've never learned to memorize them. It's the only Star Trek. Well, no, there's a lot of Star Trek that I don't know all the episodes of. And then next Wednesday, I think we're either doing the Sin City movies or a Batman movie. I think that's the plan. But if I don't know which one, it wasn't a very good plan. So that'll be happening here on the Fantasmagorium Show channel. Obviously, next Thursday, we'll be doing Quantum Leap again. But the big one is, and if everything goes according to plan, which I know it will, I am going to be delving into Lord of the Rings for the first time. I have only seen the first two in the theaters when they came out. I never saw Return of the King. I am not a fan. I have made outrageous claims about my dislike for the Lord of the Rings franchise. I know to say that on the internet is blasphemous and worthy of cancellation, but that's what's happening. I am rectifying that for my December. And that will be happening on Sunday, December 4th, I think. Yes. And so keep your eyes peeled on the Fantasmagorium Show Twitter page, Fantasmagoriums, for an announcement on that. And that should be Sunday. As usual, Saturday night is over on the Clobberin' Times channel. You got your Saturday night Star Trek, which is fantastic with Captain Clobby and Commander Raquel, R.M. Briggs. And so that is always a fun time on Saturday night there. Shout out to Captain Finity in the chat. He has a stream almost daily. If you'd like to hear a less romanticized version of time travel, an accurate version, as he would say, you can go over and check out Captain Finity. Or if you have to search him up on the tubes that are you can look up Captain Cockney Spock, his maiden name. Who else is? Oh, and also Pop Culture Curator over on. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, how did I forget? Cinema Gulp, our good friends over at Cinema Gulp, are going to be covering the 20th anniversary of the Two Towers. I am so glad. Usually I say Twin Towers, and I feel very embarrassed, but I got it right the first time.
Great job. I'm so proud of you.
And
you're
so
ready to watch the trilogy.
I am, and but Two Towers 20th anniversary special is going to be on Cinema Gulp's channel. I've just been sitting here plugging everybody else's channels, Jill.
That's a good idea.
Not bad. So, but now that you're back, do you know who this lady is?
This is her character name is Shirley, and she's played by Jill Jacobson.
Do you know her from anything else?
Well, she actually is pretty prolific in her work. And I had
What's up? Someone did something. You're
I'll
good.
be right.
That's fine. Let's see. Jill Jacobson as Shirley Winnick. What could be interesting about her? Well, if Todd Michael is listening on the rerun, he would be happy to know that she was on Falcon Crest. I forget if it's Falcon Crest or Knots Landing that you enjoy. And yes, I did that on purpose. But before that, or actually, she was on an episode of Castle. That's not what we're talking about. Is it an episode? Oh, Days of Our Lives. Murphy Brown.
Oh, you're going through her list of all the things she did besides Star Trek, which is a lot. She's done a lot.
A lot.
And she's even still working today. She's still doing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really impressed that she was on Falcon Crest, but she also, I think, where I know her from, where she stood out, was as Vanessa in the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode, The Royale, where Riker and Worf.
Oh, she is in that episode too. She plays with the Texan.
Yeah, she's the one who blows on the dice.
Mm-hmm.
So that I was just like, yay, Star Trek and Quantum Leap crossover.
I actually only got the other Star Trek role she was in.
The Deep Space Nine?
Yeah, she played a Bajoran in Deep Space
Oh, really?
Nine, who Garrick tries to set up with Odo. But of course that doesn't work. But it is also the episode where Odo is turned into a solid, being as a punishment for killing another changeling.
Right.
It's because, Odo changes form. So she visits Odo and tells him that she's sorry for what's happened to him, but that it's not so bad being a humanoid. And so that's her role in that episode.
Is that how Odo got his Bajoran fetish? He's always had a Bajoran.
Well, no,
fetish,
at this point he already loved Kira. It was already it was pre-established that he had feelings for her somehow. Even though he doesn't really understand the human main ritual thing, he knows he likes Kira.
Okay. So anyway, it seems that Shirley here has had an affair.
She did with Bert.
Yes.
Because she was grieving about the loss of somebody in her life.
Everybody's grieving about what is this community? Los Angeles was a sad place in 1974.
Well, yeah, that's how this guy gets people. He finds women who have actual loss, and he uses his fake story to get what he wants.
So Sam goes back to Irene, and that is this where they sort of hatch the surprise plan to go to the beach house.
Yes.
And they do say that at the beginning of the episode. It's like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you around the beach house very often, because Bert has a beach house. Of course he does.
Yeah, right.
And he's
like, a beach house and binoculars and a telescope.
Oh my god. Yes, I suppose Bert is the kind of guy who would have all those things. Not for astronomy.
Not for astronomy. Well, how else does he figure out that she's there?
Oh, well, but they're beach house neighbors, so they would have met.
He's right next to them. I didn't know that they were next door neighbors.
Yeah, well, they have to be like at least living in the community, because that's the reasoning that Irene gives.
Mm-hmm. But Joe doesn't. Oh wait, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, when Irene shows up, you get to see Bert lurking.
Yeah.
So I guess this is Friday night, and Joe is home from work, and Karen is like, "Hello, please pay attention to me."
Yeah. Yes, I guess I was just watching the episode there because I didn't get any stills of that. But Joe doesn't want to go to the
beach
house with her
because it reminds him of their son.
Yes. And then when Irene says, "Rabbi, your brother understands me," and then he says, "Why didn't you marry him?" And then she leaves.
Well, no, not before saying, "You know what? Maybe I should have."
Right, and so does Karen.
Karen even says, "Yeah."
she says the same thing, but she also has survivor's guilt, thinking it would be better if she died, since it seems like her dad only loved Annie.
Yes, which it seems
and,
like.
Yes, it seems like that, but it's really
we find
bad.
out later.
We find out later that it's just the dad isn't capable of grieving, like actually.
Well, and that, you know, and
with himself.
We'll get there when we get there, because again, everyone so far, like Al is even saying, like, "Oh my God, that guy's a wet sandwich," and so yeah, but like everybody, and also Karen has this huge breakdown, and it's like, why doesn't my father love me? And it's like, oh, little girl, I'm so sad for you.
I know. So, this is just a whole episode of sad, and that's why nobody's watching this, because it's just so sad. It is a sad episode, and I don't blame you.
I know, but I don't care, because you know what? In my cold and shriveled heart, I like feeling emotions. So if a TV show can make me feel an emotion, it's like, good for you. Even if you did make me sad, it made me prove that I could doing better than Joe. I can feel things.
You can. And it's a really tough, difficult thing that they decided to talk about.
Yeah.
So Quantum Leap isn't always, goofy fun time. It's very often they deal with really difficult issues that people actually have to go through.
Well, don't forget last week's episode, like the last one that we Good Morning Peoria. Like that was a really fun episode. You can turn it down a notch if you want. You can, change the mood of the dance floor. This isn't all fun and games. Sam says so in a couple of episodes.
It's true.
Anyway, so this is where we find out that it's Bert.
Yeah, Bert. Yeah, Al figures out Ziggy, I guess, is finally working. Yes. Bert's not really a widower, so his whole pickup tactic is a scam. He's never been married. The only real part is that he really is writing a book, and it becomes a bestseller in 1975 about grieving women. And Irene becomes chapter 6.
Yes. And you know what? This was the paradox that I was thinking of, but I just realized that I was incorrect.
Okay.
Well, because I was thinking if Bert gets busted, then he wouldn't be able to write the book. But then at the end of the episode, I remembered Al said it was still a bestseller, but the publisher yanked it off of Bert was found out.
Actually, it was worse than that. He wrote the book, but it never made it to the stands because the publisher, because he got a whole bunch of libel suits thrown against him, and the publisher pulled funding, and it never even made it.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a paradox. So it
never even got
published.
It never got published. Yeah.
So how did he read the book?
It never gets published. Yeah, right. No, it only works if there are multiple timelines, which is why Quantum Leap is a series of hundreds of timelines. But
yes,
but we let it get away with bonkers nonsense because it's so much fun.
There has to be a prime timeline that everything is being set back to, though, right?
Well,
like there has to be one correct timeline.
Since we're dealing with the higher power here, then maybe
True.
Because the higher power it would be able to dictate which timeline we're in. Otherwise, it would just be random.
Right. Yeah. There does have to be some intention, I suppose. God doesn't play dice with the universe. Or some such nonsense.
Well, that's what Einstein said, but he just didn't take stock in quantum physics.
Or quantum leaps. So Bert is lurking, ready to take advantage of.
Yeah, I don't want to look at any more of these slides. Okay, well, we're going to.
Well, you can.
I forgot about this one's okay.
Well, and this is Karen comes in. Joe says, "Where did your uncle go?" And Karen says, "He asked for directions to the beach house." So that's where he's headed. Mm-hmm. But Joe has his suspicions. Well, I guess you would when you say, "Yeah, I wish I had married your brother."
Right.
So
and that's definitely what he's thinking.
Yes. Now.
But what's really happening is way worse.
Yeah. Gross. Hang on. Can you go back one?
Really?
Yeah. No, I was just checking to see if Bert was wearing a wedding ring. I wanted to know if he was one of those people.
Oh.
Just to prove that he was still a widower. Anyway, skip through Bert. Bert's being a perv.
He's never even been married though.
No, I know. He's a liar. I don't like him. But luckily, Sam shows up at the beach house. Irene, in the nick of time before, I think they briefly snog.
Yes.
That was
like
for our
that.
British
Yeah.
listener. And
yes, I do know snogging because I've read Harry Potter.
Oh, okay. I have not. So anyway, they're caught, and Sam reveals the whole charade about Bert and his non-existent Dolores and the writing of the book. And so
yeah, but it's kind of crazy how quickly a con artist like Bert would just give it all up. Like, yeah,
well, but
I try to identify with women that I interview to feel what they feel, so that I can write from the heart. He just gives it all up right away.
Well, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he's just gonna say, and then I realized he was lying to his rabbi. Like, he wouldn't be able to lie to his rabbi about when caught in the act. That's what I was thinking.
That's a good point. I didn't consider his faith meaning anything at all to him at this point.
Well, and I was like, I guess he can't go back to church.
And Sam straight up calls what Bert is doing emotional rape, which is a term I hadn't heard of before.
Neither had I. I hadn't, but now that it's been qualified by this putz.
Mm-hmm. And Irene slaps him.
And sends it repeatedly, like she wants to beat the crap out of him.
Mm-hmm. But he leaves.
He took advantage of her grief. Anyway.
He did. But he leaves just in time for Joe to see David hugging Irene.
Right.
And
my brother and my wife. I should have knew it.
Exactly. And then they go out on the beach. This is the beach scene, finally.
Finally, the beach scene.
So, describe this.
I will. So, this is where, Sam is, nothing has happened between me and Irene. It's fine. Come on, Eileen. No. Says to Joe, no, we haven't done anything. I haven't had an affair with your wife. This is ridiculous. What this is about. And so it's Joe punches him like a bunch. And Al's like, this is good. This is good. It means that Joe still loves Irene. Get him to beat you up. It'll work. So Irene comes out and tries to break it up. And then Sam gets up and says, this isn't about me trying to have an affair with your wife. This is about you not being able to accept the loss of Danny. And
he says specifically, you've never forgiven her for letting Danny go to Europe. You think she wanted him to die on that plane? You're punishing her for something she could never have prevented.
Exactly.
But I also like this moment here where Sam is punched and falls through. Al says, "I'll catch you."
I can't get you. So this is where finally Joe breaks down, and this was the weird part. Why would he not want to go to the beach house and wanted Irene to stay home if the thing that triggers him so much is her vacuuming the bedroom? Which we never see, but it just says it drives him nuts because if he's dead, why are you still vacuuming his bedroom? Which I don't understand because
I don't understand it either.
You still have to vacuum.
I understand her better than I understand him, but I guess maybe it's just that he doesn't know how to deal with any of his emotions, so he's getting irrationally angry at things. And so she keeps Danny's bedroom clean and cooks his favorite meal so that she can feel as if Danny's not really gone, but maybe he's on vacation or at school. So she's kind of still in the very first phase. She's still kind of in denial, but she kind of, or maybe she's not in denial. I guess maybe she fluctuates in between. It's just her way of coping with it.
Well, no, but in terms of the emotional blackmail that's going on, it's kind of hard for anyone else in the family to move on if the head of the household, as it were, is the one who's holding on to it. Yeah. There's no acknowledgement of it, and there's still first things first. I would say take the guitar away from the front of the house, put it in his room. I think that would be you could have a tribute, but I don't know. The guitar seems, if you can touch the guitar and then everybody freaks out.
Well, she said, Irene said maybe it's time someone played the guitar.
Yeah.
But
true.
here Joe finally cries, probably for the first time.
It was a really
in
good
a year.
performance. Yeah.
It was. Yeah. And then that coupled with the music they play in the background.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
He's yeah, right. He talks about seeing him on the little league field where he used to take him.
Right. And he's waving. Like that would be yeah. That's heartbreaking.
It is.
But luckily, Irene has no longer had the affair. So we're anticipating a leap.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. So after this, I think Al says that Irene talks about Bert's techniques, which spreads around and squashes his further attempts. So the book's not made.
Right.
Bert is hit with libel cases, and instead they write a book about dealing with the grieving the loss of your children as a parent.
Yes. And then I think this is one of those great final leaps. And it when Al's like, so now? And Sam is very now. Oh, and I forgot. Joe and Karen, they embrace. Sort of cementing the bond between father and daughter.
Right. Because he's been ignoring her basically all year, and so now he's going to rekindle his relationship with his daughter so that he doesn't lose her too, like he lost the son.
And I think that part of the reason why Joe had been pushing her away is because he didn't want to replace Danny with Karen. Mm-hmm. And then they all hug, and they live happily ever after. Can we leap now?
Yes.
Now. And he leaps into a man wearing a Bullwinkle shirt that I want.
I want that too. I love Rocky and Bullwinkle.
He even has the Bullwinkle slippers too. It's great.
Right. Yes, the little slippers. And there's Corey.
Yes.
And Frank. And Frank is helping Sam get ready for a job interview. But that's all we get to see here. And the slippers don't even show up until the episode.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are. So I need to go do something real quick, and I'll be right back.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. So, I can't put that on there. Sorry, it's just a picture of George Takei in fencing garb from the episode of The Naked Time. Anyway, behind the scenes shenanigans, I swears it. Oh no, I don't even know. Oh, we're just switching slideshows. Thank you again for listening. If you're here in the chat, please speak up. We love to know that you're here. If you're listening on the rerun, like and subscribe and hit that bell.
I didn't know you could still see that.
Yeah, I can still see who's available to go in and out. So yeah, so watch what you're throwing up, and I'll stop describing it. It's not your channel this time, but do go subscribe to Antiderivative Jill's channel. I wish I had a StreamYards bot. I don't. There is a link to her YouTube channel and Twitter in the description below. Now, shall we talk about Jimmy?
Not quite yet. I still have to do the thing I have to do. I was just getting the slide ready.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because you're going to describe every screen, what is it called? Background image that I have on my desktop.
Oh, I'll look away from the computer. So I don't want to infringe on your privacy.
Well, it's not private exactly. It's just funny.
No, I just won't read it out loud. So if I see anything, unless you people in the audience, unless you hear me scream, "Oh my God!" everything is it's fine. Everything is fine.
I didn't mean to put that picture in my slideshow.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised. I didn't know that could bend that way.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome back to the Fantasmagorium show, everybody. My name is Scotty R37. I am sometimes joined by Antiderivative Jill. And on Thursdays, we talk about Quantum Leap and anything that we can find that surrounds it. The episode that we're about to walk through is called Jimmy, and it is famous for the GIF, the meme of Sam Becket looking into the mirror, as he does in every episode to find out who he has leapt into, and turning away from the mirror with a confused look on his face, saying, quote, "I'm retarded," end quote. I should have put quote, line, quote. I shouldn't have broken it up so much so people can take that out. And well, at least it was a question. So that is what this one is about. And I thought it was going to end up being a bit of a punchline. I don't recall having seen this one in my re-watches of the past, but because I always thought it was going to be maybe a bit of a punchline. And it was a punch in the gut. This is an emotional episode about the struggles of people who are mentally disabled, special, if you will. Through the episode, they do use the term retarded. And I think that we're all adults. We've seen the episode, and I don't feel that there's any need to censor ourselves from using a word that was acceptable at the time of filming and also used liberally throughout the episode. I would say it is almost as liberal as the N-word in Tarantino movies, but we do understand the author's intent and thusly not derogatory. Unless it was intended by one character to be derogatory to another character, in which case, again, author's intent. So if you are sensitive to that word, retarded, I am going to have to say this has been your warning. I did see an interesting interview with Dr. Cox from Scrubs, John C. McGinley. He was interviewed. Apparently, his son has Down syndrome, and he had been, and probably still is, on a crusade to not normalize that phrase. Now, I'm not going to make jokes about it because I'm going to try and be sensitive this time. This is what you get when you get sober, Scott. I don't want to say retarded today. So, but we are going to be addressing that subject matter. And so, again, seeing as they say it in the show, we'll get Jill's thoughts on this as well. But I think we'll try and be as sensitive as we can be, because the episode itself is actually a really good depiction of the frustration, or what I would imagine, or what the creators of Quantum Leap, when they wrote this episode, would imagine it's like to have that disability. And it's cool. Plus, we get Michael Madsen, speaking of Quentin Tarantino, in a fairly sizable role. During this episode, we'll be talking about forklift techniques and how I would be terrified working at the docks. The episode itself does take place in 1964. So we've gone from 74 to 64. And I'm trying to think if there is anything. No, it's an oddly action-filled finale at the tail end of the episode, but not much in terms of historical context. 1964. I think Sam invents the high five in 1964. But aside from that, it is another episode of understanding and embracing something that I'm not 100% familiar with in terms of giving care to a person with special needs. And I, again, don't want to I was going to make a joke, but I can't. This is weird. And with Jill not here to show me anything, I'm just talking. Hello, Internet. Do you like Sam Becket? I like Sam Becket. I think we need some more Sam Becket in the world today. Sort of an empathy and an adventurer. Someone who's not afraid to get his hands dirty, but only does it when he absolutely has to. I wouldn't call him a pacifist, but he's certainly not an aggressor, unless you're talking about his incursions in time. And Al Calavicci is much needed comic relief, but in this episode, it turns out that we find out some things about Admiral Calavicci, and it's also quite heartbreaking. As Jill mentioned, both these episodes, Thou Shalt and Jimmy, they're sad. And I would say that Jimmy is more frustrating, but there is a triumphant end. That was kind of interesting, watching an episode of Quantum Leap today going, I hope he gets out of it. But it's Quantum Leap, of course. We're not even close to the last episode. They haven't even started doing the narration in the opening theme song. So we got a ways to go. It is a pleasure to be joined by Jill, simply because we both enjoy the science fiction of it, even though I think she would agree that it is science fantasy, which I'm fine with. Bit soap operatic, a little highway to heaven, but it does introduce themes, topics, and historical context that we kind of nerd out about. Plus, when we jump into the time travel speed bumps that happen, it's fun to be able to identify which ones you believe in and which ones you don't. Oh, hello. We have someone. Phil Mood is still in the chat. Hello, Phil. Thank you. Great episode. Very good writing with Jimmy and Frank. Absolutely. And whereas the last episode, we did deal with a healing of a family, this is sort of the care that is given from, it's brotherly love, I would say. I'm trying to remember where it takes place, but luckily I do not know. So I am, as Jill is wont to say, she is reading from the texts as inspired by R.M. Briggs. I am as well. And my text will be imdb.com, peppered somewhat with Wikipedia. Oh, man. Thank you, Jill, for being back.
Yes. So the last episode we had was a very drama-heavy episode dealing with the difficult issue, dealing with the death of someone you loved. Sam had to save a marriage, a relationship with the father and daughter, and help Joe figure out how to grieve. And it just showed how fragile a family could be. But this next episode is different.
It's about strong bonds, yeah.
Yeah, this one's also about family.
Yes, I was just saying. I was mentioning aloud, because internalizing when you're on a microphone is no good. I was questioning, I didn't know where this episode, Jimmy, takes place.
I could help you with that.
Oh, we don't even you don't have to look it up. Phil Hamoud says, I think New Jersey.
I'll be right back and I'll let you know. I'm so sorry.
No, it's quite all right. No, it's cool. And just in terms of an update on the reboot of Quantum Leap, still haven't seen more than one episode. But oddly enough, the louder parts of the internet have quieted in terms of it. So it's either earning the apathy of some, or it's okay and no one's talking about it because it's basically, yeah, it's okay. Over here at this side, I would much rather go through the classic simply because I've never watched it in chronological order. It's fun to hang out and talk with you guys. As we always said about the Fantasmagorium show, we enjoy having these conversations. We'd be having them anyway, and we just like to share them with you. If you would like, oh heavens, if you'd like to support the channel, that is something that you can do. You can check it out at www.streamelements.com/phantasmagorium/tip. Sorry, Fantasmagorium show/tip. We do have a shop. It is coming up to the holidays. And so if you wanted to get someone a shirt so that they would have to explain what the Fantasmagorium show is, then this is the perfect place to do it, really. And we do have a website. It exists. And for that, we thank you. It is sometimes updated, not as often as we would like, because let's be fair, ladies and gentlemen, I am lazy. Oh, so it is on the rerun going to be, if you would like to listen to a Scotty R37 ASMR, this is probably it. You won't get that pesky Jill interrupting all the time, as she is wont to do. I kid. I think.
I'm so excited about this episode. I'm so sorry I keep having to interrupt you and
no, not at all.
This episode.
Well, and I did already address the nomenclature. And so I was going to interrupt. I did. And so I did tell everybody that if they were uncomfortable with the word retard, then perhaps this would not be the show for them. Well, but we're all adults, and they say it in the show.
They say it in the show a whole bunch. So the disclaimer for this episode, even before we get into it, is many years after the release of this episode, the R word became socially unacceptable to use. However, when this episode aired in 1989, it was the term they used the most for people with a certain subset of intellectual disabilities.
Yes.
It's thus it's never used in so it's not right to say it's never used as a point of malice, but it's not always used as such, or it's not always used as degradation of people who have such challenges.
Well, but and because it was common verbiage, it comes up when it is descriptive as a description.
Yeah. And it was they actually started using it so people wouldn't call people morons or idiots or
dummy. They say dummy a lot in this one. Yes. Yeah.
So it was actually it was supposed to be a good word, and then it got morphed into a bad one.
Yes. Well, and I think that there was something similar happened in England as well. They had a hey, Tim's Talk is here. Thanks, Tim. Good to see you, buddy. Oh yeah, I'm wondering. Tim's Talk is doing coverage of the trailers that dropped today, because there was a new Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer came out today, as did the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And so Tim's covering those. Check that out when you have an opportunity.
That's exciting.
Shall we? Yes. No, you know what? I will be looking forward to Indiana Jones until I'm not. But that's not.
Yeah, we just finished up.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thanks for coming over, man.
Yeah, thank you for checking us out. Well, yeah, and check out Tim's stream about that on the replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hey, Herc
130, hello. He says hello to us.
That's fantastic. Oh, right, I forgot. Oh, yeah, no, Jill, last night when we covered the Mariachi trilogy, Kat found out that she can actually control the chat, and then I just ended up not having to do anything. It was awesome.
That's great. I'm so glad.
I know, right?
I can control the chat too.
I know. I just saw that you could. So now I'm just going to sit back and put my feet up.
Just like this?
Yes, just like this. Just like this.
Just like Jimmy. Jimmy first aired on November 22nd.
That is a perfect slide. That was great.
I know. I have to get off of it because it's too funny.
Oh my stars. You're going nuts.
I got the giggles. I don't know why. So Jimmy first aired on November 22nd, 1989. It was written by Paul M. Bellis, directed by Robert A. Waltersdorf. Nice name.
Waltersdorf. Yeah, you got it.
Sam Becket leaps into Jimmy LaMotta on October 14th, 1964. And it says in Oakland, California. But if it's
is it in Oakland?
Well, yeah. It says Oakland, but
okay.
Now I'm not sure since it was said that it was New Jersey. No, I don't know. Because I always question myself.
Well, and it is in October. If it were in New Jersey, no, I guess this is still New Jersey weather, or Oakland weather.
Yeah, Oakland. It's Oakland.
Okay, it's Oakland. So, interesting thing about there's one of the posters on the wall here is. We may not be looking at it right now, but there is a Thor poster. Oh, right. Here's Corey.
Yeah, Corey is, Jimmy bunks with Corey, so that's why he's in a child's bedroom. And that's why there's a growth chart.
Yes.
And the little boy, Corey, pretends to kill him, and Sam does a really great death scene.
He does do a really great death scene.
Emmy worthy.
And Phil, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If I needed someone to help me on it, and you made a shot. Not all of them can stick, but you can't shoot. You can't get the goal if you don't shoot the puck.
Well, yeah, exactly. Thank you for helping out.
Yeah,
I appreciate the effort, and it's
now,
so cool to have you here.
Oh, right, I forgot. Sorry, I was going to say. Do you think that? Yeah, Tim says Indy 5 looks good. I think so. Although I did wait. You know what? I'm not gonna step on your review. Let's stick with Jimmy. But I'd love to talk to you about it sometime, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or hear your thoughts on it on your stream over on your channel, sir. So yeah, Corey shoots Jimmy. Jimmy does a death scene, which is, I don't know. I wanted to say, is he acting disabled at this point? But he's not.
Because he's not. He's playing. Yeah. He doesn't know yet.
Right.
He's just being himself. He's just having fun. And Corey says, "Man, you die cool."
Yeah.
So.
Oh, right.
What is this?
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't end up making this like the Lucases or something, because later on when Sam tells the story of Star Wars, which goes on to influence George Lucas to go and make Star Wars, I'm glad they didn't do that.
And they didn't name him George, thankfully.
But yeah, total sci-fi heads. I like Corey. He's great.
I like him too. Well, yeah, we'll get to that one. Let's wait for that because I have a thing for that. And Frank is helping his brother Jimmy get dressed for a job interview. I didn't think to look up the etymology of cool, but I guess it's too late for that.
Well, let me see.
No, you know what? It's too difficult. I'll do it later.
Okay.
Oh, it says, the way that you use it in vernacular is 1966 to mean you're cool. So 1966. This is 1964. But you know what? This kid is ahead of the times. He watches science fiction. It's probably in some obscure science fiction movie too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm gonna give it to Corey. He knows what he's doing. So Frank is helping his brother Jimmy get dressed for a job interview. We get the mirror reveal, but this time the reflection is warped. Jimmy's mirror reflection is played by Brad Silverman, who really has Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And he also appears in I Am Sam, where I guess I'm just guessing he plays a similar role as someone with an intellectual disability, but not Sam himself. And I like in the end credits of the last episode, where Frank tells him to remember that you're not an R word, but slow. So just, I'm going to count every time this episode says retard.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. We got a drinking game, ladies and gentlemen.
So I guess that's, but only after the fifth one. So, because that's
okay.
But that's the only time I'm going to say it. I'm going to say R word for the rest of them because I don't really want to say it. Oh, wait, there's one more time I'll say it. But
right.
Well, you can do what you like.
Yeah, no, it's too late for me. Like, I'm already canceled. I've said it a lot. Like, there's nothing we can do about it anymore.
Yes. Sam says it for the second time in this episode by saying that he is R word ? Yeah, no, but they say it in such an innocent way because they don't when they say it, they don't think that it means anything bad. Like it's just a description for something that is is a certain way that someone is born.
Well, when did you say it fell out of favor in common conversation?
I don't know exactly when.
Okay, I suppose it's still a battle. Like there's a roller coaster. There are people who like die on that hill of saying no, you can't take that away.
That's true. I think it was already. I don't know. Sometime in the 90s, probably, because when I was a kid, it wasn't a word that you wanted to say that already at that point.
Right.
So it was after Quantum Leap, they say. And I'm 4 years old at the time of this episode, so I don't know.
Well, and the reason I ask is to when it fell out of favor, if it did, and considering that Sam's a fairly, considering, and I have Al's story as well, which I'd like to, when we get there, like to relay. Trudy. Yeah. That's a story. But if you'd like to take over for 1 second, I've got a Snoopy emergency.
Okay.
It's my turn now.
But can I go on with the review, or should I do
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then I'll jump in, and if do you want me to tell the story of Trudy, and then I'll go take Snoop?
Well, we're not going to get to Trudy in the time that you have to take Snoopy. It takes, what, 5-10 minutes?
No, not even that. Not even that. Like 5 minutes, probably.
Okay, so yeah, I won't even get to Trudy by then. So
okay, cool. Then you continue on without me, continue. Mrs. Bye.
I shall. See you soon. And okay, so Sam. So yeah, and then it brings us to the title sequence. We hear the theme song created by Donald P. Belisario, and the episode is named Jimmy, set on October 14th, 1964, and they're having breakfast. And Connie is working hard on lunches and the breakfast. She's busy, and Frank is joking around with his son Corey, and with Jimmy. And they're getting ready to go to his job interview. It's a big day for Jimmy, which is weird because, okay, so in this episode, Connie, she doesn't really like having Jimmy around, and she seems like a big Karen in this episode, which is weird because last episode actually had a Karen who was not a Karen herself. But of course, this is a vernacular that was not really known as anything during when Quantum Leap was created. So, yeah, then that's when we have Frank playing around with the kids. Well, he calls them the kids, but of course, Jimmy is grown up, but has the mind of a kid. And Frank doesn't understand. They're reading the newspaper. Jimmy begins to read the newspaper to get the date before Frank reminds him that he usually looks at the comics. So it's weird for Frank to see Jimmy actually trying to read the news from the newspaper. So, but we do know because he reads the comics that he actually does read. He just doesn't read the news. So, and just by chance, it seems here, Sam is clumsy and he breaks something. And this is one of those moments when you remember that sometimes Sam inherits some of the properties of the person that he's leapt into. And he tries to help clean it up. But of course, Connie doesn't want him anywhere near it because she thinks he's going to cause another calamity if he tries to help. So he just wants her to get out of here and just go. She doesn't want him in her house at all. So we have Frank, who's a super supportive brother, and his wife, Connie, who very reluctantly allowed Jimmy to move in. And the promise was that if Jimmy doesn't work out, then he'll go back to the institution where Frank got him from, because Frank rescued his brother from the institution, and we'll see later that he actually goes through all the effort of going to the doctor with Jimmy to get him a letter that will allow him to work, and the doctor says that he is capable of working independently, and so that's how he's gotten this job interview for him,
which makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm back, by the way.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thanks.
I ran out of things to really say in that scene, so I started pulling from other parts of the episode that I'm probably going to repeat.
Oh, okay.
But
well, what's this lady's name?
Connie.
Right, Connie.
But I didn't capture her actual name in the...
Laura Harrington.
Laura Harrington, okay. I can catch up with you here. I have the episode.
Oh, my stars. Apparently, Laura Harrington was in Buckaroo Banzai.
Buckaroo Banzai.
Yes.
Really? And the eighth dimension?
Adventures across the eighth dimension. Yes. But so we're going to work to get this job, and Sam apparently has been leapt in to foster inclusion of the mentally challenged, intellectually challenged. How does IMDb say it?
I don't know.
I'm going to see.
She was also in Maximum Overdrive and Polly, whatever those are.
Intellectually disabled is what IMDb says.
That must be why I'm saying that, because that must be.
No, that, and hey, you know what? I like the common nomenclature instead of veering into the weeds.
Well, okay, so I was trying to get a good shot of this guy. If he's okay, so we haven't talked about the guy who plays Frank yet, have we?
No, we have not. I know I recognize him, but he's kind of overshadowed in this one by Michael Madsen in my like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was in Pumpkinhead.
What's Pumpkinhead?
Pumpkinhead is a movie from the late 80s, or early 90s. It's a horror movie starring Lance Henriksen. I remember seeing it when it came out, but I haven't seen it since, and I know that that's a shame. But
this guy, John DeKeenan?
Yeah.
Was a Pumpkinhead?
Yeah. Apparently he was in Dexter.
Also Sequest.
Oh, he was in Sequest?
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Oh, cool. He was in VIP for one episode. He was an episode of Lois and Clark. Seinfeld he was in?
Yeah, he did other things in Hollywood, like consultant work and stuff.
Oh, yeah. It does say that he's a producer.
And Disney.
Actor, producer,
and there you go. That's what he did.
Yeah.
I think we're caught up with him.
We're good with him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Herc 130 says, directed by the excellent James Whitmore Jr., best known for his suffering role as
a fighter pilot in the Black Sheep Squadron. Let's see. Oh, my stars. You know what? Everybody says we're nothing without the chat, and I am learning that that's the God honest truth.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. I learned so many things from the chat that I wouldn't know otherwise on my show.
Yeah. No, it's part of the hey, as long as we're sharing ideas and learning things. Quantum Leap, Star Trek, they're a great place to get together on those. Black Sheep Squadron.
And this kid, Corey, is played by Ryan McWhorter, who was also in Arachnophobia and Pet Sematary.
Oh, wow.
And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990, which is, I'm sure I saw that movie.
Yeah, but he probably played like one of the street kids that lives in the arcade by the Foot Clan.
Yeah, probably.
Is this where Al tells Sam about Trudy? No, it's after the fact.
Well, I don't know. I'm just inundated by the R word. Sam goes outside to meet Al. He again says that he's the R word. And Al says, "You're not the R word. Jimmy is."
Yes.
I'm sorry. I can't. I'm 12 years old in this episode, too. Al says that his IQ is around the age of the average 12-year-old, but 12-year-olds could be really smart, so things aren't really so bad for Jimmy if that expectation is known. Sam wonders how to act like the R word, but Al gives great advice to just be natural. And like I said, 12-year-old could be smart. They can read and write, Al says, which seems to be about right to me, and hold a job. Of course, in this episode, of course, Connie would catch Sam talking to himself in this episode. So it happens in both. It
does happen in both.
And in this episode, Ziggy has not been very helpful.
No. In terms of the specifics, this one's kind of he has to get the job, and then he has to be accepted by his peers. That'll get.
Goal. But
Yes.
right here, Ziggy is finally ascribed a gender, saying that Ziggy is a he who needs a girl computer with 2 hard disks.
Big hard disks.
Yeah, and then Al leaves.
Al leaves, and we are off to get a job where it's a lot of coaching, and it's a good performance from both, like the guy who plays. I'm just gonna say Frank and Sam. Like the performances
Frank.
between Frank and Sam are just fantastic.
They're great. And so far our word count is 5.
Oh, is it? We're at 5 already?
Yeah, we're at 5.
Oh no, but in the pep talk, they do say it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, hey, thanks, Herc. He once directed Bakula in NCIS New Orleans.
Oh wow, that's great.
And he also directed Bakula in Enterprise. They have a good relationship.
That is great because this is one of my favorite Quantum Leap episodes, and to know that he works in sci-fi related shows, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah.
Michael Madsen's here.
Who's here?
Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen. Oh, Michael Madsen. Yes. Yes, he's playing the Blue. Did they say his actual name or just his name is Blue the whole episode?
No, even in the credits for he's called Blue, which is he's Mr. Blue. If you want to go back to Reservoir Dogs, sure.
Well, isn't he Mr. Blonde?
He is Mr. Blonde. I was reaching. I apologize.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm trying.
But these guys are definitely, everyone's making fun of them and saying, "What are you doing here?" Throwing around the R word. Actually, these guys usually throw around the word dummy.
Yeah, they say dummy. I didn't count all the dummies. I only counted
It's just fine. We don't have a slur counter.
So here we have R word at 6. And they call him Ricky Ritardo.
Yes, they do.
Rude.
Schoolyard.
They're just bullies.
Yes.
And I like how Sam gets Frank to ignore the bullies.
Yes.
It looks like he's about to get in a fight.
Yes. Although, I don't know. It's funny. It's an interesting thing because he shows up and he's wearing the tie, of course, because he's going to a job interview and he gets hired and he basically starts that minute.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Frank helps Jimmy prepare to tell Samuels that he used to help his dad unload furniture, so he has job experience. And that also Frank got him a letter that says Jimmy is capable of working independently from a physician.
Right. Yes.
And so that shows just how dedicated and that Frank is to helping his brother out. And we see just how patient he is with him throughout the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel, so during the job interview, Samuel starts speaking to him very, very loudly.
Yes. And what he says, heavens.
I'm slow, not deaf.
Right, exactly. He doesn't refer to himself as retarded in that?
Samuel says the R word.
Samuel does, yes.
And so we're at 8 at this point.
Okay. I think, yeah. This is fun. Anyway. But yeah, so Jimmy gets the job. Fist pumping and big hugs all around. And I guess if he didn't get the job, is Jimmy just going to wait in the car all day?
No, well, they're like two blocks away from home. Frank can just ask for a break and go drop him off.
I miscalculated with Snoopy. I thought he was hungry, but he still wants to go outside. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, that's okay.
Please continue.
So I was thinking when I saw this scene in particular that Frank must be very, very strong because he lifts Sam up and spins him around. And we know that, so. Jimmy tries to counter to Samuel during the job interview that he can do the work. That he can't help that he is slow. But he can work, and that's how he gets the job. And we find out that this doesn't help Sam leap. You'd think, hey, Sam got Jimmy the job, he should leap now, right? But no, that's just the beginning of the issues that he has to deal with, because his coworkers have to learn to trust and to respect him as a colleague and as a friend. And here, an analogy is made to Jackie Robinson, who was the first African American to play in the major leagues. And Jackie Robinson had the best team number too, which was 42. And this number became so special that 50 years after joining the league, the number 42 has been retired from rotation from all teams. And he earned Most Valuable Player in 1949 and was an all-star from 1949 to 1954. And then he led Brooklyn to a World Series championship over the New York Yankees in 1955. Just retiring as a legend, basically. And I don't actually even know or care too much about baseball, but that is some really great stuff from Jackie Robinson. But what wasn't cool was all of the racism and abuse that he had to endure before people accepted him. And so Al is using that as a bit of an analogy for how Jimmy also has to be understood and respected as a human being who is capable of doing the work of a dock worker. And Dalek 451 is here. Oh, so great to see you. He says, Dalek 451 says, "Hello all. I've just woken up and I'm still tired. Oh, Dalek, do you drink coffee? Would you like to try a cup of coffee? Or do you do something else to wake up? What is your wake-up ritual?" So Jimmy has to get his coworkers to accept him, and maybe Jimmy won't become a legend, but he can do this job. And this is basically the kind of episode that makes me love Quantum Leap. And this is somebody who has a challenge. They face their challenge. They overcome anything that stands in their way. In this case, people who don't understand how to deal with differences in others. And this is one of those cases. But in this episode, Jimmy is plagued. First, he breaks, was it the milk bottle at the beginning? He broke something on the breakfast table. So there's a series of errors that Jimmy has to go through because of what's expected of him. I definitely believe that it's part of what Quantum Leap does, is that when Sam leaps into another person, some of the personality and physical traits and properties of that person are integrated into Sam on some level, so that Sam actually doesn't have to act like anything here. These kind of accidents are going to happen naturally to him. And it really isn't, usually, like Frank says, it's not Jimmy's fault. It's other people who are bullying him and making him have these issues. But there are some cases where he is just clumsy. And that is just something, a challenge that Jimmy has to get through. And after he talks to Al, Jimmy turns a corner here. So it was definitely he turns a corner very clearly, very easily seen by anybody who is driving. They should be able to see someone in front of you that you would stop for. When I'm driving, I'm able to see what's in front of me and stop. There's plenty of time to see and stop. But in this case, Blue chooses not to pay attention. And Jimmy clearly turned the corner first, so it was definitely Blue's fault, the forklift driver's fault, for not seeing him here. And this is another case where was this Jimmy? I mean, was this Blue? Who was it? Yeah, it was Blue. And he calls him the R word again. So Dalek says, "Yes, Jill, that's exactly what happens," which I've said to you before. Hmm. So that's the beginning of the bullying by Blue. And we find out why Blue is bullying Jimmy this whole episode. Towards the end, we notice exactly he has problems of his own that we don't really see at first. He just seems like a regular old bully here at the beginning. And here, Jimmy and David, I'm in the last episode. Jimmy and Frank have lunch. And Sam calls himself special, which Frank has never heard as vernacular before, and he likes it. And of course, that's a modern term. That's what we call it special education. But I guess this is a new thing for Frank. And they have a great lunch where they share halves of different sandwiches. And Frank is even impressed when Jimmy wants to share the Twinkie that's in his box. But then as Sam is trying to open the Twinkie. So they're having a good moment here. Just two brothers. And he's telling him that, our dad would be so proud of you for having a job. For getting out of the institution, having a job. But then as Sam is opening the Twinkie, he knocks over the thermos that Connie gave Frank for Christmas. But Frank forgives him right away. And Jimmy gives him the whole Twinkie as recompense. And it's a really sweet scene because even though there's something that Frank could be pretty mad about, he lets it go because family is more important.
Well, but also he tried to steal his Twinkie.
Yeah, but he almost got away with it too until he knocked over the thermos and he had to make up for it by giving him the whole Twinkie.
That's true. And yeah, but we've just had a great success with him getting the job and going through his first day of work, or the first half of his first day of work. And so, but this is when it really starts to pile on in terms of the treatment of Jimmy from his coworkers. Did they already crash the forklift into into his
that
load?
Was Blue's first way of bullying.
Now I do have experience on a forklift, and if you're coming around corners, you're always supposed to be honking your horn.
Yeah,
it's basic forklift safety.
And not only that, Sam had clearly already made the corner turn, so there was no way that Blue didn't see him.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he wasn't looking.
Well, an accident, yeah. But still, it is a situation
dangerous.
Because of the weight and power of a forklift. Your responsibility is to let everybody else know around you where that forklift is. So Blue sucks at his job.
Yeah, he does. You know about this. You have experience. You rode a forklift.
Yes.
So Dalek here says, when Sam leaps into a person, he takes up some of the traits of the person. And I think that is definitely true here with a little bit of clumsiness that Sam just naturally has without even trying.
Well, and also, isn't there a moment where Al sort of startles him and he's just so out of sorts. He doesn't know how to be.
Right. And because of the way everybody's treating him, too, is having an effect on how he reacts and how he carries himself.
Oh, I'm remiss. Hi, Dalek. Sorry.
Yeah, Dalek just woke up.
I heard. And then this is other people who are sort of messing with him. His other coworkers who throw double loads at him, and then Blue antagonizes those coworkers into saying, "Oh, it looks like Jimmy's gonna, or Dummy here is gonna make you guys clean up a mess that you made or that he made."
Yeah,
And
what's weird about this scene is there's a cut with him magically already holding one bag before the bag is thrown. But I don't think I was supposed to be paying that much attention. I think it was just because I'm making slides that I noticed things like that.
oh, okay. Little production editing goof.
Yeah, but I think that nobody's supposed to notice. It's just
Well,
it's
yeah.
it's not in any wiki or anything.
Well, and it's still considering the time that this show aired. Like you couldn't get it on streaming, or you were watching it once and then reruns. It wasn't even on VHS for a long time.
Mhm. Oh, Wi-Fi now claims that Quantum Leap isn't malleable timelines, so I got to get you guys on the same panel to explain it to me. Well, they present it as malleable timelines, but we
Yes.
agree that it is probably not. There are definitely, in order for any of it to make any sense, there has to be multiple timelines.
Yes.
But Scotty, you were just saying that there was an anchored timeline that God always refers Sam back to somehow.
Well, and yeah, but if we are dealing with the Big Bopper, it is, if there is a plan, then there must be to right things that once went wrong. I don't know. I'd have to we're plowing through this series and sort of figuring it out as we go. So far, it's been fairly, like, these have been good shows and good stories, certainly great performances. But when it comes to the actual nitty gritty of how the time travel works, I think it's more of a setting than an actual mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it's treated like.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, I think that we think way more about the time travel than the writers of the show did.
Well,
And
we've even seen, like, there is an argument to be made that it is a malleable timeline, because there is the season premiere of season 2. There is a moment where Admiral Calavicci is in a hearing and the timeline changes around him,
which makes no sense, but yes.
which doesn't make any sense, but he
But
is aware of it and he
yes,
knows it.
that is the show saying that it's a malleable timeline. And
Yes.
it believes it, but I can't.
Well, then I guess we'll never watch another episode. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Okay, I guess we're all done here.
We're done here. We've cracked the code.
No,
It's not about the words, you green-blooded Vulcan. It's having a good time
I'm
singing.
having a good time, so we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
But we'd love to talk with Wi-Fi later on another channel about the malleable timelines with Captain Infinity. At some
Of
point.
course.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
So of course the guy throws 2 sacks at Jimmy. So of course one falls to the ground, and they continue to bully him on this.
Yes.
But
then,
he calls them out, saying there was no way he could have gotten those 2.
right. Oh, and yeah, he's still capable. And also he gives as good as he gets. Like, doesn't he beat the crap out of Blue? He's like, I'm not going to get fired for fighting on my first day.
Well, yeah, at first he doesn't fight. They try to antagonize Jimmy into committing violence at first. That's a tactic that bullies tend to do, but Sam doesn't bite at first and just reiterates that it was impossible for him to catch the 2 sacks. And then he calls Blue a kick in the butt.
Yes.
Which actually embarrasses Blue, and to be on the receiving end of a name call from Jimmy. He didn't expect it, or for it to amuse the others on the dock.
Right.
So Blue starts to push him, and Jimmy doesn't want to fight, but he is being abused. So eventually Sam defends himself just to stop it.
Well, and also don't forget, we just came off of a leap where he got beat to a pulp as well. He's probably got some pent-up aggression.
Yeah, and Frank finally notices and steps in.
Well, but also, and as Frank mentions later on, I can't watch you all the time.
Well, yeah, but what was he going to do? This guy kept coming at him, so Sam punched him twice. No, and actually, I like the part where someone on the dock says, "Not bad."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and that's like, and I figured that the standing up to Blue would be one of the things, but as the episode goes on, every time Sam does something right, he clumsies it up, and then, or someone else sabotages him, but everyone always blames Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. He always gets
He-
the blame because he's the one that people expect to mess up, so it must be him.
Well, exactly. And as we're following Sam, and like, it's not like he's doing anything wrong, but it is the frustration of the
It's
people
the way
around
he's
him.
perceived.
Exactly. It's the people around him who perceive him as being, okay, well, he's slow. And so he's obviously the one who's messed up in some way. So we should either say it's okay, little guy,
Yeah,
or
no,
we should
there's
say it's
actually
all your fault.
I should have
And
looked it up, but there's a study about how this is an actual real effect that happens in school where if a teacher is told that a certain student is slow or extra smart, then they treat that student that way. And if the reverse is actually true, the person who was actually having those intellectual disabilities actually excels just because the teacher thinks that the student is smart.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Positive reinforcement all the way.
Mhm.
And again, but as this episode goes on, I just keep getting more and more frustrated for Jimmy through the eyes of Sam.
Yeah, me too. But Frank is there. He's a very supportive brother.
Yeah.
But and then they're trying to punch out, and Jimmy wants to try to do it on his own, but ends up needing Frank's help. Messes up the card,
Yes.
and this
Which,
is
yeah,
what were you gonna say?
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's just I love Frank here because he's so good and patient and helpful.
Yes.
And Sam is making all of these kinds of mistakes because everyone treats him because of the way everybody treats him. So if you're told all the time how dumb you are, you're going to
Well, exactly. It's
start behaving that way.
self-fulfilling prophecy. So Frank and Sam get home. Everyone's all excited. He got the job.
Yeah, they're celebrating the new job. Connie says she can make a roast, but that it'll take too long. Jimmy suggests a microwave, which of course we've said before on the show. It was invented in the 40s, but uh, uh,
Home use.
not available for home use yet. And in 1955, there was one sold for $1,200, but it didn't really become affordable until 1967.
Right.
However, this is one of my favorite parts because the kids' response from hearing the word microwave makes them immediately think of a science fiction movie
Yeah.
called Invaders from Mars, where the aliens use radiation to cook the Earthlings. And this led me on a tangent, and I actually watched the Invaders from Mars trailer, and it looks like fun. In the movie, a young boy sees an alien spaceship land near his house, and the Martians soon start controlling the minds of all the adults in town. And so it's on my watch list.
Oh, wow. Now Quantum Leap is making your list longer.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think Sam wants to go play with Cole.
Well, yeah,
before,
but wait.
yeah. Okay.
I actually took this still because this actually makes Connie laugh about the reference to Martian microwave. Since I don't have a Martian microwave, so we're just gonna have to wait. And so it was good. It was good to see her, not be terrible. And it's not really that she's terrible. She's behaving the way that people behaved during this time.
Yes.
And it's not right, but it is the way it happened, and it's not good. But
Well, and also not to completely say that, like, of course what you said was correct, but also even if it was a regular brother who had to come and crash with Frank, I'm pretty sure Connie would be like, "Why is your deadbeat brother here?"
yeah, probably.
Like, I just think she feels put upon by having an extra mouth to feed. Like, she does have to, do the domestic stuff, and also
That's right. She's really busy,
and she doesn't trust Jimmy with Corey.
right? Because Jimmy is so big,
Right?
Which isn't really an unfounded concern considering.
But I've heard that before in movies from the 1980s or comedy routines, like where it's like they have incredible strength, don't you know? Like just urban myth. I don't even know if they're urban myths. I just always heard it as a punchline because it is. People with these disabilities have been treated as a punchline for so long. I don't like. I personally, when I'm
I hadn't
using,
heard that.
I'd heard that. I've heard other stuff, but again, these are things that are like, I'm perhaps misunderstandings. I don't know enough about it, but like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I don't understand. I don't know if they're derogatory, so I don't want to give them too
It
much
sounds like they probably are.
weight. Yeah.
Herc
But
was
even Frank says it. Even Frank says, don't forget, you're stronger than everybody else. And I was like, what is he, the Hulk?
well, he's stronger than the other kids because
That's true. Yeah. Oh, that's true too, because he has the mind of a 12-year-old, but the physicality of a grown adult.
correct.
Who can work on the docks. So yeah.
Right. Well, a 12-year-old can work on the docks. It's just illegal for them to. They're supposed to go to school.
Well, your
But he's
average
not
12-year-old's too small to catch those sacks anyway. I don't think they'd
Yeah,
let a
that's true.
12-year-old drive a forklift.
Yeah,
But
right.
although
Their feet can reach the pedals. So
Yeah,
Jimmy
exactly.
has lots more capabilities than a 12-year-old.
Herc says, I remember our first microwave in the early 1970s. It was magic. Oh, yeah. You know, I don't think I'd ever had popcorn outside of a movie theater until I got my first, my parents got their first microwave. And Phil says, I love your Quantum Leap reviews. Well, Phil, we love having you here. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
I'm glad people aren't turned off by our liberal use of the R word.
Right.
But yeah, and also I really enjoyed the characterization between Connie and Frank, and they're still, adult.
Yeah, they're still loving.
Yeah, they're still lovers, which is kind of cool because usually you get the, Ozzy and Harriet when people go back to the 60s.
What's Ozzy and Harriet?
Ozzy and Harriet is a sitcom from, I think, the 50s. Old black and white sitcom.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Sam's throwing around the old pigskin with Corey. Is it Corey or Cody?
Corey.
Corey? Okay, cool. And
Sam wants a high five, but Corey doesn't know what that is, and that tracks because the high five didn't officially become a thing until the late 70s during a sports ball game. But I say it that way, not to be dismissive, but because there's some dispute on who invented it. Some say it was created by the LA Dodgers outfielder named Glenn Burke when he high-fived another outfielder, Dusty Baker, after a home run in 1977. Then others say that it was Louisville's basketball team who created it in 1978 or 79. And since real history can't decide, I'm giving this one to Sam Becket.
Yay, Sam for the win. Give him a high five, everybody.
So anyway, they're having a nice game for a while.
Just a fun game of catch.
Until
Biff shows up.
Biff, his name is Peter, but I like your Back to the Future reference.
Thank you. Yeah, and he steals the ball.
Yeah, and Corey gets into a fight because Peter calls Jimmy a dummy or something.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like it.
Well,
So Sam goes to break it up.
Yeah, and the mother sees Jimmy sort of bear hugging Biff, and she starts beating him with a broom, which I thought was a little excessive.
I think so too. That's assault and battery.
Yeah, and but if your son, or you keep this dummy freak away from our kids, kind of thing.
Well, yeah. To be fair, if I saw a grown man holding my son randomly out of nowhere, I might be beating him with the broom too.
Fair enough.
But whether or not he has any sort of mental capabilities or whatever, but after that, after she releases him, she doesn't. After he releases him, she doesn't listen to reason that she doesn't actually listen to what the story is. She just, the part I wouldn't do is threaten to call him and get him arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd actually listen to see what actually happened, what everybody's story is first. And then she says that he belongs at an institution, which I guess I didn't do the the vast research that I should have done on this. I guess that was what was done at this time.
Well,
But,
and that's where Jimmy had been staying prior to this episode as well, was the Institute.
yeah, Wayfield?
Wayfield, yeah.
Corey tries to explain that Jimmy did nothing wrong, and that he was the one fighting.
But
the reason
Frank's good with it. Frank says that kid's a punk. He's always causing trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But Connie doesn't like it when he's fighting.
Yeah, the reasoning doesn't matter to Connie.
No.
She's worried that having Jimmy around is like having a big giant child.
Right. Well, and also because he was sort of the lightning rod for that situation to have Peter beat up on Corey in the first place too. I'm not victim blaming here, but I'm just saying in Connie's eyes, she could be saying, well, this never would have happened if your brother wasn't here.
That is the way she's seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, like we were saying, having low expectations for someone can really mess them up into providing you with exactly what you expect. Because the situations are not, even when the situations are not Jimmy's fault.
Well, exactly.
You expect that. And so that's what you see.
Well, and that's the frustration with it. And because we're seeing it through Sam's eyes, if, like, say it was Frank. Say if it was Frank there, and then he tossed the ball and Peter got it, and then there was a fight, and then Frank went over to him, would, like, the mom would have said, what are you doing? What's happening here?
Yeah, she wouldn't jump straight to the broom beating, for sure.
Well, she might, as you said, a grown man's holding your son.
Well, in this case, Frank is a known neighbor, and she might just really not recognize.
Well, if Peter's such a bad seed, then maybe I blame the mother. Maybe she's a bitch too.
Well, parenting is tough work, so I don't know.
That's what I keep hearing. So anyway, Sam is obviously distraught for the same reason, but just out of not obligation, but just to continue on and being productive and helpful to the family, he helps Frank wash the car, and he's washing the wheels.
Yeah, and another scene where the images worked. It's an interesting choice by the director to show warped images of Jimmy.
Well, and I think it's also a sort of as a reminder, like, don't forget, broadcast television, if you didn't show up on time, you're waiting, or you're showing up after the first commercial break. And maybe that's why they're using the R word so liberally and showing us so many glances to remind us the situation that Sam is in.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just, see, and Sam's being clumsy, but this is stuff that Sam does know. Like, he was washing with a
sponge?
Steel wool. No, he was using
steel wool that was scratching the paint off the truck.
Exactly. And that's something that Sam, like, just through the tactile response of touch, he should know. Don't use the steel wool on the paint. So I think
for the tires.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why he's using that. That Frank probably said, wash the tires.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like, and that's why. And I still think that there may be echoes of the host when Sam leaps in.
Absolutely. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
This one absolutely shows that to be the case.
Mm-hmm. Although we are going to get to an episode where he leaps into a monkey, though.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting.
Okay. Really? He leaps into a monkey.
He leaps into a monkey. I can't wait. I don't know what season it is, but I can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I know. Now you want to watch the monkey episode.
Well, when does that happen?
I'll find out.
I'm just kidding.
So this is where Al startles. Oh, right. Okay. So this is where Al startles Sam while he's holding a stack of plates. He's like, don't do that. And trying to set the table and be helpful. And then, unfortunately, he does a clumsy.
Yeah, you think he's going to drop the plates here. But that was just a preview.
It was just a jump scare.
It's made Sam extra nervous the way everybody's treating him.
Yes.
And so as he's grabbing this platter,
down it goes.
Connie walks in, bumps him, and causes the platter to
causes
break.
him to drop it. Right, exactly.
And it's her grandmother's platter.
Apparently. And is this, this is when he says he's sorry and he sort of leaves.
Yes.
And takes a step outside and talks to Al. And Sam is just like, I'm constantly like, I'm making mistakes. I'm constantly apologizing for them and then cleaning up at my mistakes. And it's really, really hard. It's frustrating. I don't know. I can't do anything right. And you really feel the frustration from Sam. But then is this where Al tells the tale of Trudy?
Yes. Al says, you're just feeling the pressure of everybody treating you like a Dumbo. And this is where Al talks about Trudy, who was R-word. And that's the 10th R-word for this episode. Who had an IQ lower than Jimmy's.
Well, and I have the full quote. There was a girl named Trudy. She was retarded, Sam. Her IQ was lower than Jimmy's and all the kids in the neighborhood. They used to tease her. Kids can be cruel. They'd call her names like dummy and monkey face, and I hated it. And I used to get into fights all the time over this, but that's what big brothers are for, right? My mother couldn't handle it. That's probably why she ran off with this stupid encyclopedia salesman. But my dad tried to keep us all together, and he was a construction worker. He went from job to job, and then when it took him to the Middle East, I wound up in an orphanage, and she wound up in an institution. When I was old enough, I went back there for her, but it was too late. I'm gonna cry. She was gone, Sam. Pneumonia, they said. How does a 16-year-old girl die from pneumonia in 1953, Sam? We're not gonna lose Jimmy, right? And the performance that Sam Rockwell gives, it's just so great. Heartbreaking. I'm tearing up. I'm glad I'm not on camera for this.
I agree entirely, and well read.
Thanks. But yeah, and that sort of pushes us in the resolve as to how dangerous it can be for Jimmy to go back to Westfield.
Yeah.
Anywho, what, are you emotional too?
No.
Oh no. Okay, it's just me then.
Dean Stockwell.
Dean Stockwell.
I'm not sure who you said.
Did I say
the first name, and so I wanted to double check that.
Did I say so? I thought I said Dean Stockwell. Oh well, we'll check it out. I'll check it out on the replay because it's always fun to re-listen to these conversations and find out where I've messed up.
But that was well performed.
Thanks. I went a little method. So, but yeah. And so that gives us the resolve for the rest of the episode to sort of push forward and make sure that Jimmy is welcomed and included in.
Yes,
and
that is Al's motivation.
Yeah. And so then after that, obviously they'd have dinner or whatever, and it's back to the bunk. And we do get to see Sam take off his Bullwinkle slippers.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was a pleasant surprise.
Well, they're reading the comic book.
They're reading the comic book.
And Corey sees Connie the way I do, how she is somewhat mean. But Jimmy says that she's trying, which is also true. She does have to look out for her son first, so I could see the worry. But sometimes I think Connie takes it a little too far. And
yeah, but also it takes a firm kind of woman to be able to put up with Frank's shenanigans.
Oh, absolutely. Well, so. And to explain to Corey why people are mean to Jimmy, Sam says, I'm different. And that scares them. And Corey says, well, they're the stupid ones. And then the part you're talking about.
Yeah, they after they have their conversation about what happened through the day, Sam says, "Well, let me tell you a story. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away,
Yeah, see.
rebel, yeah, rebel forces strike from a hidden base." And tells the tale of Star Wars, which is kind of funny because I've been at like campfires and I've like, and sometimes kids they glom on to someone and they would just like hang out with them, and it's I like entertaining kids, obviously, in completely normal ways. Don't get weird. And
I understand.
I did tell a kid this tale of Star Wars once.
You told them the opening crawl to Star Wars.
No, I basically told them the entire movie.
Oh, the entire story from start
Yeah,
to finish, just in your own words.
just in my own words. Yeah,
That's really cool.
roasting marshmallows and doing it. So I don't think I'd seen this episode all the way through. As I mentioned before, I always thought it was going to be a bit of a punchline, and it's not. So I'm glad I
Well,
finally got
yeah.
to revisit this. But
No,
so I
it's not a
can't.
punchline. It's used very dramatically.
Exactly.
But it's kind of going to freak Corey out when he actually sees the movie in 1977. Hey, I
Well,
remember that.
Yeah, exactly. How did he know? Well, and that's what happens at the end when we get there. But I liked the thing that sort of saves Corey, if you will.
Me too.
But we go back to the docks.
On your copy of the DVD, did they play the actual Star Wars music?
No.
No? Okay. They didn't in here either.
No.
So back on the docks. Like you said.
Back on the docks. But like this is why I don't think I would ever do well at the docks. Like I wouldn't be a good dock worker because I would be constantly afraid of the things swinging above my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like things
but you
break.
get over it.
I guess you do.
Because it's something you go back to every day. And you need to eat. So if this is your job, you're going to learn
For
how
sure.
to live with it.
I suppose. No, I'm just saying I wouldn't be very good at it.
I thought you're a good forklift driver. I'm sure you'd figure it out.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Maybe I would.
So
I could be a crane operator and make sure not to drop things on people.
Oh, there you go. You'll be the one
in charge of swinging things over, but over everybody's head.
Yeah, that way they're not swinging over your head. That's a great way to deal with it.
Yeah.
So we learned something very important about Blue in this scene. Because he spent the whole episode bullying Jimmy for his mental incapabilities or disabilities. Yes. And we learned that he has one himself.
Yes. Although it's not said directly immediately.
Yeah, no, it's not, but we're going to say it anyway because it makes sense. He's told to get the crate with 1675, but he goes for the one that is 7516, which we find out later means that he has dyslexia. And that explains why he's so cruel to Jimmy. Jimmy reminds him of his own deficiencies, which he somehow avoided having to deal with his entire life.
Right. That's yeah. I don't know how he had this job. I don't know how.
I don't know how he had this job, or he went through school this whole time without.
But also, like, who knows? Like, if he's working at the dockyard in Oakland in 1964, he could have dropped out of school, young age.
That's true.
There isn't the press or the pushing to stick with education for a long period of time back then. Just get a job. Who knows? You know what? Maybe Blue's home life wasn't exactly as pleasant as it could have been. Who knows why Blue is the way he is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the end, I kind of want to know more about Blue, like you're saying. What was his life like to lead him?
But
to be the way he is.
The downside of that is that if this was played by a different actor, I don't know if I would have cared. Right, I just would have been like, this guy's a jerk. It's same as Bert from the last episode. I was like, you schmuck. And same deal, but this is Michael Madsen, and I'm just like, oh, he's being a badass motherfucker. An asshole, to be sure. But
yeah, but he plays it well. He plays being the bully pretty well.
Yes.
And I guess he was one that's in a whole bunch of things. He's in a bunch of Tarantino movies.
Yes.
Kill Bill. And Robert Rodriguez, Sin City.
Yeah, that's true.
Free Willy.
He was in Free Willy. I remember that.
And
Once
also
Upon a Reservoir Dogs.
he
Once
was
Upon
in
a Time in Hollywood.
He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not on this list yet.
Django.
Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, so he shows up in a lot of Tarantino movies. I like that.
Yeah, so do I. As do I. And also, I'd like to say that Michael Madsen wasn't a very good forklift driver.
No, he wasn't. He's crashing into everything. And
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which,
yeah, he's coming through with it. It looks like Jimmy's been relegated to cleanup duties. And like, you shouldn't be taking corners that fast in a forklift well, I guess if you're good at it. I don't know. You have a lot of space. When I was working at the warehouse, it was very tight quarters, so I wasn't going very fast.
Well, you're the expert here on this. I don't know. It's like
like you're supposed, like I guess the only thing that really needs to be there is a slippery when wet sign, just so that people are aware of it. But if you see a guy with a mop on the laneway that you're going through, slow the F down. But like, it's a situation that if I were in those shoes, I would not have spun out.
Oh, and he's actually bringing the R word count up. We're at 12 by now.
Oh my goodness.
And so Jimmy is accused here of leaving the solvent valve open, causing Blue to crash his forklift. But of course, Blue orchestrated this whole thing.
Yes.
And so Jimmy disagrees. But whatever the truth was, doesn't matter because Blue uses the opportunity to say that he won't work with this R word anymore. And now our number is at 14. And the others agree, including Samuels, who fires Jimmy for an infraction because it could have killed someone.
Yes, and we can't afford. You know those signs that you have in like 0 days since incident?
Yes, accidents.
Since accident. So we can't afford it. We cannot. Regulatory. Which, it's unfortunate, but again, this is the frustration of the whole situation. Because when you have Jimmy there, then everybody has a scapegoat, and Blue does not like Jimmy anyway.
No,
because,
he
again,
doesn't.
As you mentioned, it reminds him of his own dyslexia.
Right. And Frank won't work there if they're fighting Jimmy, so Frank quits. And for the first time, Frank is frustrated enough to raise his voice and echo what his wife's been saying the whole episode, that they can't always watch and take care of Jimmy.
Right.
And they get home, and Frank lets his wife know he quit. And Connie believes it was Jimmy's fault instantly, but Frank is unsure. And Jimmy's tasked with fixing the bike. Oh, and she says, I don't know who is dumber, Frank or you.
Well, yes. He did just lose his job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there is a woman on earth who would be like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, no. There was no reason. Well, I mean, except on principle, why Frank had to lose his livelihood for. I mean, like, if you want to quit, that's one thing, but you do need to talk to your spouse before you quit a job like that.
Well, but
because the real way to quit a job is to find another job first and then leave your job.
That is what I've heard. And so, but yeah, but I do like and again, the bond of the brotherly bond and the sort of feeling of family of this episode, the last two episodes, I think has been really great. And so I do admire the solidarity between Frank and Jimmy.
I do too. They're good brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good, but here Connie has had enough. She pulls back on the promise that he gave her, that if Jimmy didn't work out, Frank would take him back to the institution, which Frank does not want to do. And but this is just the way that she thinks it needs to be.
Well, and also, yeah,
really,
it was
sad.
Yeah, it is. Well, and also because him finding another job, and then the added pressure of having to find another job for Jimmy, which is too much. It's too much to Connie, to have to support his brother.
Yes, because to her it's like having another child.
Exactly.
But
Hang on, I'll be back in 2 seconds.
really,
Sorry.
it's for me, it's a matter of family. But I guess she's just not into it. Oh, and I want to be really mad at her, but this is just the way this kind of disability was treated back then, and it was definitely wrong. You shouldn't just throw someone away because they have these kind of challenges, especially when they're family. You've got to figure out how to help them, and somebody's got to be responsible. And in this case, Frank is trying to be responsible, but Connie thinks the responsible thing to do is to send him to the institution. It's a rough thing, but Quantum Leap's not afraid to look at history and say this is what happened back then.
Well, and even as Frank is explaining to Sam about the situation, Al is saying if Jimmy goes back to Westfield, he is not getting out.
Yes, that's right. I like when Sam picks the bike and says it doesn't really take a rocket scientist because Sam is a scientist.
He's a rocket scientist, yeah.
But Frank tries to say he has to find a new job while Jimmy goes back to the institution, but like you said, he'll never get out.
Right.
And that would be the worst, to be stuck in a leap until Jimmy passes away.
Yes, it would be. I didn't, and that's the thing, and it's funny because of these with these episodes and trying to find out what he's supposed to do and how he's going to achieve them. It's always funny watching them and feeling like, oh, I hope he doesn't get stuck in here all like forever. Even though he is sort
terrible.
of
like we know that's not possible. It's not
right.
possible for that to happen, but Sam doesn't know that. Al doesn't know that.
Exactly. And the show is so good at making me suspend that disbelief to be like, okay, these are great stakes.
Yeah, and exactly. Jimmy agrees.
Well, what's he going to say? Well, we'll see what he says.
Mm-hmm. He says okay for now.
He says okay for now. And then picks Frank's pocket.
Yes, but in this shot, he's holding on to the car keys, the trucks.
And it's just, and this is a nice brief moment where he's with Connie and he's like, this is how Dad must have felt. Mm-hmm. But then the car starts.
Yeah, Sam goes back to the docks to get his job back.
Mm-hmm.
By telling the story that it was Blue who left the spigot on, and that Blue actually has probable cause to do what he did because Jimmy figured out that Blue is dyslexic and proves it right on the spot here.
Yes.
Because he's not able to read out the numbers.
Yes.
And I know being dyslexic doesn't mean you can't read. A lot of dyslexic people find a way to be able to read, but I guess Blue hasn't gotten around to it. And
well, also, I don't think it's his. Like, there are very specific roles that you would be doing, and if he's a forklift driver, I wonder if he would be at a different part of the dock or handling other parts, like not numbered ones. I don't know how he has his job, Jill. I do not know how Blue has a job here.
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't. Like, in terms of recognizing numbers, it's like there's got to be laneways. There are aisles. There are going to be sections. They're all going to be labeled. If he can't discern them, he wouldn't be able to work independently.
It's true.
And he would make a lot of mistakes if he was just faking his way through it.
And he would. You're right. I don't know how he did it. I guess he'd have to be asking somebody the whole time. Scogli Jotun is here.
Scogli! Hey,
Hi.
team. Glad to have you here, Scogli.
But Blue does bring the R-word count from 15 to 16, whether or
That's
not
it.
he should actually be working here.
Right.
And so Samuels believes Jimmy and Blue gets fired. And Yeah. So just before you can feel sorry for Blue, he decides to run over Jimmy, so you won't make that mistake.
No. Well, and that was the thing. And I was like, when he got fired, I was like, okay. And I knew something was going to happen. And they set this up at the beginning of the episode. Don't let Corey play by the docks because it's so dangerous. And when Blue attempted murders Mr. Samuels and Jimmy, he plows into the stack of crates that have a bunch of bags of flour or something on it.
Yeah,
and
he plows into that.
Into that, and Corey is now overboard. Corey is in the bay and just sinks like a stone.
Yeah, he does. Oh, and Scogli says that guy in the back kind of looks like Michael Madsen. That's because it was Michael Madsen.
True. Good eye, Scogli.
Yes, very good.
And so we get... there is a point where Frank jumps in. They lower a rope, pull him back up, and now he is not breathing, lungs full of fluid, ergo he drowned. And the story's over. Everybody can go home now. Sam never left again.
Oh, no, wait, that's not what happens.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I watch the director's cut?
Yeah, you did. Because Frank jumps in the water. He saves his son, but he's not breathing. Sam does CPR on Corey to save him.
Yes. And so he starts off by doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, isn't doing anything. And so Al says, CPR, Sam. And it's a nice cover story, too, because he says they taught me how to do it at the Institute.
Yes, that's the cover story, but in reality, Sam is the doctor.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that wakes him up is, if you die, you'll never see Star Wars.
And that works.
And that works.
But it was probably the CPR.
It was probably the CPR. Now, the question is that I posed to you and the audience, did Sam save Corey so he could see Star Wars, or did he make it so that Corey had to watch The Rise of Skywalker? I wish they'd never saved me. That was so bad.
All of that time wasted.
Oh, my stars. Yeah, he probably was happy that you got to see any movies after this day, so good for him.
It's going to be like that.
Oh, no. And so, yeah, everybody's sort of, fist bumps and high fives all over the place.
But yeah, so definitely doing this saves Jimmy from ever going to the institution, because how could Connie ever send him back after he saves her son's life?
Well, it is. It's the it was such a, like, I almost want to say this is a too convenient an ending. He steals a car, gets his rival fired, who tries to kill him, which dumps Corey overboard so that he can drown, and Jimmy can bring him back to life, basically winning the trust and adoration of not only his boss, his coworkers, his brother's wife. Like, it all happens in about 4 minutes.
Well, I'll just say it was an unplanned bonus that he saves Corey.
So we get the hug. Everybody is happy. And Sam has now leapt into court.
Yeah, he's defending a woman charged with murder.
Murder? So I can't wait to find out what that's going to be all about. I wonder what year it takes place in. We'll find out next week. Don't look ahead. Don't read ahead.
I'm not.
No, I was talking to myself. So anyway. So yeah, I would say, like, these
I do like when you talk to yourself.
Thank you. Well, I was doing that when you were away for the whole time. It was great. Oh, there was people in the chat. How could I forget the chat? Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. Thank you, Phil, for being here. And thank you to Scogli. Always a pleasure to see you. And to you as well, Herc130. Thanks again.
Thank you, Herc130, Scogli, and Phil.
Captain Infinity, thank you for dropping in and keeping the time travel honest. Dalek 451, we got to get you back on.
Stuff.
We got to get you back on someday. Let me know. Send me a DM and let me know what episodes you'd like to take a look at. I just found out that Jill has never seen the one where Sam leaps into a monkey.
I have not seen that one.
I wonder if I want to jump ahead to that one and watch it now, because I just remembered that it happened and I want to see it. Because, well, should I wait? I'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay.
It'll be fine. No, it'll taste better once when we actually get there for real. We'll earn it. We have to earn the monkey.
That was not a phrase I was expecting to hear today. Thank you again, Tim's Talk, for being here. You guys should go check out Tim's Talk channel. Everybody I'm mentioning, if they have channels, visit them. Yeah, but Tim just wrapped up on the trailers of the day for Indy 5 and Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Longfellow, thank you so much for being here as well. And so Phil says, yes, Herc says, yeah, we are great. Deserve chocolate cake. You do. Get yourself a ho-ho. And then Phil Hamoud says, that's a great episode. He's a lab monkey from NASA. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to it because, again, it's the echoes of the host that Sam leaps into that are interesting to me. And I want to know how much of a monkey Sam will be.
Yeah, right. How much monkey is integrated into Sam's psyche that he can't avoid. Just like the clumsiness of
and also
Jimmy.
It is going to be Scott Bakula in a diaper for an episode as well. You know that.
The monkey episode, he's in a diaper.
Yeah.
Here's the chocolate cake for the chat.
There you go, guys. Have some cake. The cake is a lie, by the way. But yeah, these two episodes, I think that they were harrowing. They were emotionally filled. With sadness and frustration that ultimately was overcome. And that's part of the reason why I liked it. The positivity of Sam and the empathy of Al is super fantastic.
I agree completely. He was in both episodes. The first one being a little more sad than the second one. The second one was more hopeful because we had Jimmy working hard to achieve his goals, and he does.
Oh, and Lemon Pie is here. Hey, Lemon.
Hi, Lemon Pie.
And Herc is very appreciative. Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome. You deserved it, like you said.
And just so we can sort of run through this quickly for both episodes, I like to return to the bingo card, the Quantum Leap bingo card that was very pleasantly introduced to me by one of the mods on our Facebook page. If you want to join that. Yeah. So as always, the square, the free square in the middle is Sam saves a life, which is why he does this this is the whole show, is so that he can make right what once went wrong. I guess you could say he didn't actually save a life in the first one, but considering it was going to ruin Irene's life, I would say it counts. Right?
Yeah, right. Saving a life, it sometimes means saving the physical life, but also sometimes the soul. In this case, it's a marriage.
Yes. And then going from the B's, or Sam gets upset. A U.S. president is mentioned. No. Sam does get upset in both episodes. I don't remember a president being mentioned in either episode. Al hits Ziggy. In both episodes, because it comes out in Jewish years on the first episode, and then does he hit it? I don't think he hits it in Jimmy.
Does he hit it? No, I don't remember.
I don't think he does. Sam conveniently sees the current date. Well, you know what? I didn't even know what the year was in And Thou Shalt Not. Do you remember? Did he how he found out the year? No, he found out the year from
the newspaper. Oh wait, that's the That's Jimmy.
That's Jimmy. So one of the two. Al mentions Ziggy. Both episodes, yeah. Going over to the eyes. The theme song lasts 2 times longer than it should. That will never happen. I don't know why this is on this.
Okay, which ones do I put a mark on?
Sam gets upset.
Okay, here, let me get a different color. Sam gets upset.
Yes. Al hits his handheld device. I'm gonna see. Let me see.
Where's that?
Hang on.
Al hits Ziggy. Where is that one?
Didn't.
Sam talks to himself in public.
Oh, you got it. You got it going on. You are my hero, Jill.
Thanks.
Cheers. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna go wide here.
I'll talk about an old job he had. He talks about his sister. He talks about being married to a Jewish lady who taught him Hebrew. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he talks about an old job that he had.
No, I don't think he does either. Al quotes a % chance of something happening. No, I didn't recall.
No percentages. I usually remember math things, and there was no percentage this time. He just said, "This is it. This is it."
A U.S. president is mentioned. I don't recall for either.
Neither do I.
Sam just can't get out of a situation.
That's not every episode, really.
Well, but not in the. Yeah, no. So he can't get out of doing the prayer at the beginning of the first one, and he can't get out of So that one does. Yep. Sudden disdain.
which piece of scope? It's like, yes, there's always somebody with sudden disdain. I think Connie or the neighbor has sudden disdain for Jimmy for sure.
Absolutely, and Irene gets mad at Bert with sudden disdain.
Yeah.
Al forgets he's a hologram and tries to help.
I think we're combining both episodes, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Al,
Yeah, he does. He says, "I'll catch you," and he doesn't catch him. So that counts. Sexually harassed. Yeah, Bert.
Yeah, fucking Bert.
That was.
Al hits his handheld device. Definitely in the first one. I don't.
Yeah, as long as it's one. We're doing bingo for both episodes.
Okay. Sam wears a uniform. No, Sam doesn't wear a uniform. Oh, yeah, he does. He wears the rabbi uniform. It's a uniform.
That's yeah, I guess so.
If you have to wear something to your place of business, it's a uniform.
And Sam saves a life is free space.
Right? Al acts like a dirty old man. Does he?
He says, "What's wrong with the one night stand?" Does that count?
I don't think that.
No,
that's not dirty old man.
No, that's just
man.
Oh.
What?
Did either of these episodes rip off a movie plotline? That's squarely your domain.
I don't think so. I don't think it did. Well, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
So does Sam conveniently see the current date?
He see in the newspaper like when he's Jimmy, yes.
Yes. Okay, we still don't have bingo, so let's keep going.
Okay. Al does mention his ex.
Yes, his ex-wife.
Sam seems to really enjoy doing a chore. No, I don't think that happened in either one because there was no room for happiness in these 2 episodes, except for the ends.
No. Yeah.
A mother figure is mean to someone.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the neighbor. And also Connie.
Yep.
Sam does not sing.
No, not this time. Al does mention Ziggy both times.
Sam does not get mad at an animal in either episode. So why am I doing this?
I don't know. You just like crossing things out. Sam leaves the person he's protecting alone. Yes.
Who was he protecting?
Well, he was trying to protect Irene from having a one night stand, and he left her alone at the beach house for a time.
I guess so.
But he's singing as he's protecting Jimmy.
He saves the day.
He does both times. and Al acts like a backseat driver, I'm going to give it to him in Thou Shalt Not, because he does say, let him hit you. Let him hit you.
Also, he helps Sam with the dance.
Oh, but that's not backseat driving. That's more like instructional. Oh, wait, I don't know. Do you count it?
Yeah, I'm going to count it because that gives us bingo right here diagonally.
Oh, we got diagonal bingo. Hooray!
Yeah. Unless we didn't. It's up to you in the audience. Did we earn it, or am I just giving it?
Are we just getting excited about getting a bingo? Well, and the thing is,
and that's out of 2 episodes.
Yes. So it is kind of cheating.
It is kind of cheating, but once we started the ball rolling, we couldn't stop it.
Yes. Like we can't do it. But that's how we rate these episodes now. It's whether or not we like them if we get the bingo.
No, I love Jimmy no matter what. I love that episode. It is one of the episodes that I rewatch.
Well, I am way to watch it. I am happy that Jimmy got a bingo. Jill, would you like to tell the fine people around where they can find you around?
Well, they can find me at Antiderivative Jill on my YouTube channel and on Twitter at Antiderivative1. And on my YouTube channel, I talk about science fiction. I love that genre, so I talk about it the most. And on Tuesday, I talk about the original series. Next week is a really exciting original Star Trek, the original series episode. We're going to be talking about the 2-parter, The Menagerie. So I think that's going to be a really big one. I'm thinking of starting an hour early just to make sure I have enough time to share everything I want to say about that episode, because it is the first
Star Trek 2-parter.
Yes.
So I am looking forward to that. And are we doing a Plomeek tea time?
Yeah, tomorrow we should be doing a Plomeek tea time about Free Enterprise, which is a movie by Robert Meyer Burnett. And I am going to be working on that pretty soon here.
Well, and it's all, we have so many of these conversations and things get put on your list. I'm glad that we can have other conversations that take things off of your list.
And this one was a movie that was very high on my list. I was so happy I finally saw it. It is a really fun movie, and it speaks a lot to the culture we have here on YouTube. All of the people here who love pop culture and love to talk about it, and this movie has it in spades.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite romantic comedies from the 90s.
And, I laughed several times during it. So it definitely, I see where it's a comedy and it's romantic. But it also has Star Trek.
It has William Shatner, exactly.
Yeah, and Shakespeare.
True.
What else do you need in a movie? I don't know. I couldn't
nudity.
Oh yeah, it has that too. Green women.
So good. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. So yeah, that's great. And then this weekend on this Sunday, I'll be rectifying my lack of Lord of the Rings viewership and try and see it through a more mature mindset than just slagging on dwarves. And that should be on Sunday. Monday, I'll be with you for Pop Culture Curators animated series reviews. I can't wait to watch The Menagerie with you. And then next Wednesday, we're either doing, I forget, Sin City or Batman. I forget.
Sin City.
And is it Sin City this? Okay.
Yeah.
So Wednesday is going to be the Sin City double feature.
With Catherine?
With Catherine, who is back after a short hiatus. And we are so happy to have her back.
Welcome back, Cat.
And then next Thursday, it'll be back to Leaping with you, which is awesome.
Yes. I don't know what the episodes are. We're saving that for a surprise, because I don't know what's happening.
And to close us off, Scogli says, new ditty. And all right, Sadate on the runny side. With that being said, whose turn is it to say? Is it my turn? All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and we'll see you next time. Oh boy.